Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight to Risen Esports' Winter Team Builder League. Only on Tuesdays, where the games come hot like Sunfire Cape. The games are not hollow, but our players sure are radiant. We'd like to welcome you to Bamis division on Tuesdays. Tonight, our best of three match will be between Team 4 Fire and Baron Baddies. I'm your play-by-play caster, Kevin Dunk, joined by Isaac Casts on color, and we are so excited to be your casters for tonight's match. As we jump into draft for game one of week two, we're hoping to bring games that are just as entertaining and keep you on the edge of your seat. I'd like to pass it over now to my wonderful co host, Isaac Casts, to take us through the first phase of draft and maybe share his thoughts on this matchup.
Yeah, for the start, for these two teams, Team Four Fire didn't necessarily get the start they wanted as being one of the higher points accumulated team builders in this league. Gotten off to an 0-2 start against Jungle Trust last time around. I do think their bot lane did stand out a bit, so I would be looking forward to them. And then, interestingly enough, on side of Baron Baddies, it's quite opposite. Their top half of the map really shined in their 2-0 victory over Auburn University Orange. I mean, especially Yasuo, who didn't get to play Yasuo, so this one will be a fun cast where we have a player with the name of a champion who will probably never get to play the champion as it worked, because, I mean, this guy pretty much is a Yasuo one trick. But, I mean, he specifically popped on the Aatrox and the Zed, as well as Moxie, especially in that game two on the Silas, looked particularly great. And straight away, they don't really give us a break at all as we're straight into the draft already. Skarna getting picked up on the side of Team Four Fires, one that Sparksy likes a lot, that they are picking up super early.
Yeah, Skarner's a pretty interesting champion. I think this tank boy, one of my favorite champions back when he was still purple, has kind of fallen out of favor in
Yeah.
the recent meta. Not just not ability to keep up in that full clear speed when that kind of is the deciding factor for the tempo of junglers in the early game. That's followed up with an Ashe pick here for Team Four Fire. So a lot of targeted CC, really great initiation tools, but kind of lacking in that damage. So Baron Baddies do have counter pick for the jungler, and it looks like they're hovering over the Jarvan. Jarvan, great matchup into the Skarner because I think just in the early game you have a lot more impact and your team fight ult's just a lot easier to hit. And against something like the Ashe, I really like having that pick against an immobile carry like that. So yeah, thoughts so far on the draft comps, Isaac?
My thought is that I think I might have lost connection because I've the timer paused and I'm not seeing the Jarvan hover. So so it is what it is. Okay, wait, no, I'm back. Jarvan Rise is the immediate response from the side of Baron Baddies. All right, so yeah, Jarvan is just Jungle McJungle these days, or even not even these days, just for the or John McJungle, I suppose, as well as Rise, John McMidlaner. And for good reason, these two champions are very strong, especially Rise with the actualizer, I believe it's called, the new item they got that increases the mana cost of your abilities, but also makes them hit harder. I mean, Rise has always been a scaling burst mage or control mage in the mid lane, but it just feels like it's even been doubly or even triply so in the right hand so far this year. Response from Team Fire been a little bit more in terms of the expected picks as well. Oriana is one that has been seeing a bunch of play across all divisions, all skill levels, because yeah, I mean, Oriana sets up pretty nicely, especially if Skarner can get into the middle of everyone. It's not the most super reliable ball delivery system. Obviously, Jarvan, it would be one of them, but obviously, Bear Badge ended up picking that himself, and Skarner, it's fine in that regard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the Orianna. I mean, it's the mid lane champion, right? I think forever meta, always part of the game. I mean, Rise, I think, has been really powerful this season just due to the addition of the actualizer, which is kind of nuts on this champion. Probably one of the only champions I think that builds it. I haven't seen many other champions do
Yeah.
that
I've
as we
seen a
finish out.
few victors kind of like it if they go that scaling build with the Rod of Ages and the Seraph's Embrace. But that's even then, it's not one that's very commonly picked up.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people buy it on Kassadin, but Kassadin's already that like late game scaling champion. I think if you hit third item after Rod of Ages and Archangel, I think you're winning the game
It just
anyway.
doesn't
So
even matter because
yeah,
it's yeah.
really doesn't. But it is funny seeing your ultimate cost like 1280 mana if you hit it to max stack and you actualize it. It does a ton of damage. And now For Fire going to lock in Seraphine as their support pick. So Ash Seraphine, super annoying lane to play against. If you get hit with that first slow from the Ash,
Yeah.
Seraphine's E, the beat drop, will guarantee the stun, as it's going to be Braum hovered and likely locked in for the Baron Baddie. So nice anti-peel. I mean, it's not super effective against something that has a lot of poke like the Ash Seraphine, so that might be a difficult bot lane matchup for side of Baron Baddies. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what they decide to lock in the top lane, as For Fire on red side do have R5 counter pick for that. So hopefully they can invest that draft resource into a good counter pick.
Yeah, the Braum is not necessarily for lane. I mean, the Encore is just such a powerful ability, and it's so telegraphed. It's just easy to hop in front of your team, throw up the Unbreakable, completely deny everything that Seraphine wants to do with that ability. And it is such a strong ability. A lot of her, I guess, power is indexed into the Encore. Obviously, gets a decent amount of utility with the rest of her kits as well, you know, with the heals and shields and movement speed. But a large portion of it does come from being able to, you know, line up these really big encores, and with the likes of Skarner and Oriana, it would, you know, continue on increasing the CC, and with Ashe as well, would basically make it impossible for anyone to move. And Ornn as a final pick into the Aatrox for Team Forfire is one that, especially with the Braum already picked, I guess it could be okay, because now you have two different abilities that, you know, you can only eat one with one Braum, but also at the same time, it is into Braum. Also, Ornn into Aatrox, I think early on, isn't particularly that great. My top lane knowledge is basically zero. Even if I was talking about being put on Ornn duty, it's mostly because you can press R at the right time, and then it is super impactful. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, Ornn as a lock-in, I do also think there is a lot of damage lacking on the side of Team Forefire's comp. Even if they do find these really big wombo combos, I am a little bit concerned that they really won't be able to fully capitalize on them.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that point up. I agree with you 100% here, Isaac, because, yeah, like you said, the lack of damage is just kind of a big barrier. I mean, Baron Baddies doesn't have a huge front line, but Rise building stuff like the Rod of Ages can index into kind of more tank items in the late game. Bruisers like Aatrox, you have the Braum Shield. Jarvan is a pretty effective bruiser. I don't know if Team Forfire really have the firepower, so to speak, to get through, some of these bruiser champions on Baron Baddies, right? I mean, Ashe, Seraphine is a lot of crowd controls, but not a lot of damage. Ornn, Skarner, you have a double tank top side, and Oriana really needs those items to get going, and she's more of a burst mage, especially if you're buying stuff like the Ludens. The only real shockwave target that's valuable is going to be the Varus, I think. So it's going to be something that they do have to consider. If they get behind, they're not going to have enough damage to kill anyone, and I'm not really sure if I agree with that Ornn pick into the Aatrox, because yeah, Aatrox is a champion that really thrives in those team fight situations against low damage team comps, right? So if he's able to get consistent healing out by hitting those Q sweet spots, it's going to be really hard to take him down, especially if he's backed up by the Jarvan, right? So yeah, it's a bit dangerous, like you said, due to the low damage impact, but they have a lot of CC, they have a lot of setup, tons of great engage tools with the Encore, with the Call of the Forge God, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, snipe you from half a map away. I like that they have the CC, but I just wish maybe their top side had a bit more damage against something like the Aatrox that, this champion just feels like he's never going anywhere. Once he gets Sunder Sky, this guy's not dying.
Yeah, I feel like, obviously with the Power of Hindsight, as it comes through, I feel like maybe Nocturne would have been a little bit better for Sparksy. I don't know their familiarity with it, and I know they are a really, big Skarner player. They are a Skarner enjoyer, which is incredibly based, by the way. But in this very specific scenario, however, because Varus, as you said, is the only one really worthwhile, like, shockwaving, and like Rise eventually gets kind of tanky. So like you pick out the Varus, it's incredibly difficult for any of this team to like truly collapse onto Varus. Because like even if you land an encore onto him, for example, or Call of the Forge God, or somehow Skarner with the makes an incredible flank, gets in there, lands an impale, you then have to go through the entirety of Baron Baddies' team. And if Rise isn't also included in the mix of that wombo, or even like Aatrox as well on like an unaccounted for Orianna or Ashe, but two separated from the rest of the team. How do you actually end up getting the Varus, right? It's pretty difficult. And I think you kind of said it a while ago. Is I feel like the only way Team Four Fire comes out in this is if they come out to an explosive start, which is not necessarily impossible. It's just they equally don't exactly have the comp to like have a good chance of guaranteeing that really early explosive start to start gaining a gold lead immediately.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there, Isaac, because like you said, that explosiveness kind of relies on that early game damage. I mean, Skarner has a decent job, with that early burst with the Shattered Earth, but it's not a ton of damage, right? You kind of have to be consistently hitting them. Same with Ornn, right? A lot of high base damages, but really to get snowballing, you're not relying on Skarner or Ornn to kill someone quickly, which I think is going to give time for someone like the Rise, like the Aatrox to escape. Braum is so good at peeling for his carries, like getting the concussive blow, slowing people down with that Winter's Bite. I think the only chance that you really have at ganking successfully in the early game was likely the Orianna, maybe when she hits 6 and can drag Rise over with the Shockwave and get a combo with that. The one thing about Baron Baddies is I will say outside of the Varus is their team comp is quite short ranged. So if they kind of bunch up, there is a huge chance for Team Four Fire, excuse me, to get kind of that wombo combo like you were saying there, Isaac. If they get the Encore into the Call of the Forge God, right, it's easy setups for something like the Impale, like the Shockwave from the Orianna. Like it's a good combo, but they really have to rely on Baron Baddies making those positioning errors, I think, in the team fights and being on parity with gold. Because if they're behind, I think in any way, they're just not going to have the firepower to kill the targets they need to kill.
But I mean, that is why we end up playing the games, right? It's easy to like say about what the expectations are, what like sort of struggles Team Four Fire have. Clearly, I mean, it sounds like neither of us are particularly fans of their composition, but that's why we play the game. I mean, I've seen more surprising outcomes. Obviously, we talk about the things on paper, but Team Four Fire clearly want to be able to bounce back after what was a frankly underwhelming first week from them, and coming out with the win here, coming out and like slapping what is one of the more favored teams in the Bamis division would be a really good way of doing it. And we'll have to wait and see. But I don't have anything to add. So unless you got it, I feel like we're going to a spectator delay on the other side of this, right? Or
Yeah, no, happy to jump to a quick break. I think I've talked your ear off about team comp diff, but like you said, hey, it's all about how they execute on the champions they got in their hands. So we're gonna jump to a quick break, and yeah, we'll be back soon. Risen Esports Tuesday Winter Team Builder. We'll be back very soon as we jump into the game after spectator delay. Hello, hello, fans of Risen Esports. Welcome back to Bamis Division, Season 16, Winter Team Builder. It is Kevin Dunk and Isaac Katz here taking you to Game 1 of our streamed match tonight between the Baron Baddies and Team 4 Fire. So we're going to get into this game right away here. Pretty standard lanes, no shenanigans, hopefully, on this level 1.
You say no shenanigans, but, well, actually... I suppose not. If see each other. They'll be spotted on this ward too. However, that could spell like a little bit of trouble, considering how fast things respond, especially up there in the top lane. Pepito is going to take a while to. Oh wait, it's Pepito in the top lane and not Yasuo. That probably explains the champion selection of Ornn for the side of Team 4 Fire.
Yeah. I mean, Yasuo is already pushing his advantage on the level 1, just poking out Pepito, who did start the Volcanic Rupture, so it's just going to get out-traded here as fully stacked Conqueror uses the Darkened Blade. Oh my god, it's going to be a level 1 solo. Bolo, he pops the flash, but no, the flash follow is in the bush and not hitting that sweet spot, so it's going to be flash for flash burn, but look on the top side, Spark ZZ is already chasing that man as the heal is popped to get the concussive blows. Flash auto, flash follow from Karma in effect, and now it's in a 2v1. Kodakuno dodges the Winter's Bite, big piercing arrow charge up, and this, what is going on? Level 2 gank, no, the Ixtal's impact misses, as Yasuo's trying to 2v1 this now. He is down a level to the Skarner, as we have to jump back before. Oh my god, the jungler's already here again, and it's going to be Moxie. Jarvan coming in here, unraveled, or sorry, it just misses as we see first blood already go from Moxie. There's no flash from Pepito. It's shenanigans already. It's not even 2 minutes as Pepito dies to the Jarvan gank at level 2 after Spark ZZ tries to do the same to Yasuo. The rock, the boulder toss missed. Yasuo lives, and Moxie picks up a double kill there for what is an amazing start for this Jarvan. Not so great for the top side of Team 4 Fire.
I mean, really, this is just peak League of Legends. I mean, for Moxie to not give up on the play top side, for Sparksy to help out his top laner, assist things, despite knowing that Pepito had teleport, he could have recalled, came back, missed out perhaps on a little bit of experience and gold, but all things considered wouldn't have been the end of the world. Instead, they spin Sparksy top at level 2, something we hardly ever see anymore these days. And then the response for Moxie to see that, and then say, no, I'm going to sacrifice my own clear as well to help out. I mean, obviously it works in the end for the side of Baron Baddies. They pick up a double kill for Moxie. And you know, that gets him a little bit closer to completing that Sundered Sky, which is such an important power spike for a lot of the meta junglers right now, has been ever since the start of last year. So getting him a nice injection of 700 gold will be putting Baron Baddies in a really good spot, especially since we've already covered it during the draft. We are tuning in. The composition that Team 4 Fire have really needs to get out ahead early.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see the lanes continue here, we see the bot lane of Team 4 Fire have push. Pretty expected as the Braum, is the melee matchup, and they did burn the heal early just to fight that. But now we see in the bot side, Moxie's going for the crab, but he's getting routed by the Skarner as well, who pops the Ixtal's impact. Can't get anything, but that's going to be bot scuttle over to the side of 4 Fire. I mean, that's a double scuttle. That's pretty good for the Skarner. I mean, I think you'd rather have 2 kills, but as we see, the lane is getting pushed up here, so I think Moxie's going to go for the lane gank. His wave doesn't have to bounce back, though. I don't think they can do it unless they step up too far. They get hit. It's a double flag and drag into the hail of arrows. Big damage being laid down on the Seraphine, but they don't have the flash. One more auto will do it from long range. Ember the Flame picks up the first kill on his Barret from a nice lane gank, getting the double knockup from Moxie as we see the Skarner now following up. Hit the Ixtal's impact, doing big damage as the Ash is just raining arrows on them. They're playing around the bush vision, but the flag and drag gets flashed away from. The barriers pop the lethal tempo in trade, but it's still Kodakuno going down. Ember the Flames pops the fully stacked lethal tempo, and Moxie picks up the last kill. It is 0 kills for Team 4 Fire in an unfortunate turn of events. Again, it's Moxie with the counter gank, and it's going to be, again, Baron Baddies picking up the gold on that one.
Yeah, it goes about perfectly as you would have as for Baron Baddies. I feel like at that point you just have to give up on Sparksy with how things were going. He's just a bit too separated. I mean, they came through, they didn't quite get what they had looked for. I mean, obviously they were feeling quite all right after that, but but to come through with you already had 1 kill down, you're fighting a 2v3. Obviously the health bars were low, but you know, it's not ideal. And now sitting 0-2 on the Skarner, the bot lane's being put further behind. Kodakuno, I mean, is the main point like that we need to be looking at for the side of Team 4Fire to do damage outside of Sleezal, but even then, Sleezal only has Embers to Flame as things go on to really look forward to be doing a lot into. So it's just, that was a long and winded way of saying it's not ideal for Team 4Fire, to put it lightly.
Yeah, not ideal is definitely one word I would use. I'd say terrible is probably
well, it's
more
actually 2 words, but...
Absolutely, Isaac. I mean, there's just not a lot for the Skarner to look for. Like, I mean, the early game is going so far in the favor of Moxie. I mean, he's pretty up to date on farm in terms of the creep score, but I mean, that's a 3-kill Jarvan, 2 assists. Pretty much done the Sundered Sky, I think, after this clear. And, you know, what should be a winning bottom lane for this Ashe Seraphine now have to worry about this 2-kill Varus. And I think once he gets Blade of the Rune King, he's going to be even harder to kill, as we see Liv going for some vision here. I think they're baiting in the bot lane of the Team 4Fire for this Jarvan gang, but I don't think they're going to commit. They don't have vision near that tri-bush, so blue buff's going to get stolen by Sparkzy, so the nice cross map there, and I think he's looking for a gank on Yasuo. Not sure if he's going to get it, as we see, yeah, Yasuo is getting ganked here, gets hit with the slow, flashes out of that searing charge to avoid the knockup, so it is going to be him safe. He also invests the World Ender, so ulti and flash invested for this Aatrox maybe will be no here. I think they're trying to go. Oh my god, he just dashed in and gets into the Ixtal's impact. He's gonna get chain CC, but the searing charge doesn't hit the wall, and Ornn is out of mana. Yasuo making a very risky play. He's just in the face of 2, but he's feeling himself, just going for it, just taking out Capito's Ornn. Ornn has out of mana. Sparkzy doesn't have the Impale to follow up, so I think they're going to have to back off this. And seeing the Skarner on the top side means that Baron Baddies get a free, uncontested first break. The Infernal Dragon goes over to them just around 7:15.
That's really good from Yasuo to recognize that Sparkzy had yet to reach level 6, only hitting it on the Krugs right now. So there's no Impale for Sparkzy to use to bring him back into Pepito. And at that point, he was just allowed to stay in really close at arm's length with, frankly, how much range that hero has, at least in comparison to an Ornn and a Skarner with all their cooldowns unavailable to them. And I mean, Sparkzy spends so much time in the top lane, doesn't really get anything for it. Obviously, the flash, it feels all right, but they got that so early. I feel like if you're Sparkzy, probably the most ideal thing to do would be, you know, get the flash, get the world in there, which is honestly a bit more than I thought it really wouldn't have been able to get anyway. You do that, you go back around, you try to pick up some, you know, keep the tempo up, but instead spends so much time in the top lane, and all the while they don't get anything for it. He does take a while to recall and come back through, which now we see on the map, Moxie on the Rift Herald. I don't think it would necessarily matter too much as, you know, how the current state of the game and gold in general, but it just denies you the options if you're Sparkzy to really do much of anything afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, the Void Grubs are secured, so that's the 2 objectives. I keep thinking of like the 2 to 3 thing, but that's not a thing in this new season. No feats of strength,
no feats.
but it does. Yeah, but it does feel pretty good for Moxie because, as you were saying, I mean, it's not a big deal for the side of Team 4Fire to not have those drugs, but I think it exacerbates their lack of side laning. As we see, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits the Varus. Varus getting dragged by the Exalt Impact. Is the Impale going to hit? It's not needed as the Encore hits. So it's a shutdown over to Kodakuno. A flash out of the Impale from Liv, as it's going to be a successful gank on the bot side. Just very well played by Sparkzy to hold his skills until after Varus has, you know, been stuck out of position. Kodakuno, nice arrow on that, so just a good amount of gold back in the hands of the Ashe, hopefully stemming a bit of this deficit for the bot side.
Yeah, and you do want to get it onto Kodakuno in that situation. Ashe obviously not the highest DPS ever, but if she is allowed to free hit, especially with her 2 off cooldown, especially as time goes on, it basically has become permanently in later portions of the game. So
great, searing charge into the Devil Trap does big damage, and now Call of the Forge God, but he's out of mana. He doesn't hit the second charge of the Call of the Forge God, so that means Yasuo is free to walk away, just limping on HP. does just actually take over that role quest, so has the teleport, and Pepito does as well, so I think they're both going to take just a chill reset here, but yeah, lots of scrapping in the top side. Just EQ into the Cataclysm, into the Rune Prison, Shockwave hits, but I don't think Sleestall has the flash. It must have been burned by Kim Jiwoo earlier, so it's going to be a nice punish of that timer. Kim Jiwoo picks up that kill, first one for this Rise, uses the flash, but gets 300 gold back, so very nice gank from Moxie, knowing the mid laner of Forfire does not have the flash up, so this Rise is going to collect some plates, collect the gold. Very good position for this champion that does pop off in the late game, as we see the cleanse. Okay, flash auto actually, they're trapping on the other side. That was very aggressive, and now it's going to be on the other side. Sparky looking for the gank. He doesn't have the intel, but he gets the slow. The Winter's Bite hits along with the concussive blow, so he's going to back off 4 now because they cannot keep chasing. Kodakuno's a bit too low, has the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but it's a very healthy Varus, as maybe the play continues. Skarner is waiting, but the Rise is here, has the Realm Warp Rebellion. Ixtal's Impact hits, but the Varus is hit as well with the stun. A big Unbreakable stopping as the the Impale only hits 1. It's going to be the Realm Warp over from Kim Jiwoo, as you see the Flag and Drag under turret gets the kill on Karma and Effect. The Jarvan has to flash out as he's tanking turret a bit too much. Rise throws out the Flux and the Overload for some damage, and now the roam coming from Sleestall. Can they make something happen off the back of this play? I don't think so. They're just going to meet faces with Kim Jiwoo in the mid lane on the Rise, as we see the Skarner walk into multiple people, and he's just going to die. The Flag and Drag hits Sleestall. The Thunder Sky Healing is keeping the Jarvan healthy, as it's going to be a double kill for Moxie. I think it was a bit too much aggression from the side of Team Forfire, as they're doused by the side of Team Baron Baddies, because Moxie just picks up a double kill and no one on the side of the Baron Baddies goes down.
I swear this is a solo queue game if I was watching it, because it starts off with
Flash
away
Pepito.
Yeah, but I mean it starts off with Kodakuno getting the chain of corruption from the Varus, and immediately cleansing it away, and getting that, and you're like, okay, we get the cleanse.
All the 4-shot hits, but I don't think he has follow-up, as he's the World Ender pop. Yasuo getting ganked now, but it interrupts the Ixtal's Impact. A lot of healing from the sweet spot. Doesn't actually have Thunder Sky, it's just the Deathbringer stance healing him up. I'm not sure if Sparky has some damage to kill him, as the 8 is healing a lot off of that. I think he's gonna go down. Yeah, Sparky hits the boulder spot. It's going to get the kill, but that was almost a sticky situation. If Yasuo had that Thunder Sky, likely it would have been a turnaround, but off of that topside play, again, it is going to be Moxie collecting the second dragon, so that's going to be a very early soul if they can get the third one at just about 12:45 here. Big things happening from the jungler of the side of Baron Baddies, making a lot happen even on the cross match.
Yeah, but I feel like at this point in the game, that's probably about as much as you could really ask for from the side of Team Forfire. There's no shot that they can mess it up.
And it gets the arrow into the encore. It hits 2. The stuns are good, as the Bears is stunned up heavily. Glacial Fissure goes out, so now the ultimate traded, as we see. Oh my god, there's so much damage, but gets blocked. A nice use of the Locket of Solari to keep him alive. The Braum just barely living there. Oh, Piercing Arrow does big damage off the Blight stacks, as Ember had to invest the ultimate there. The Chain of Corruption to stop the engage. Karma's still very healthy, but Kodakuno has no summoners if they want to go for this dive play.
Yeah, and they get a lot of the resources out of the side of Baron Baddies in the bottom lane, so that feels really good for the side of Team Forfire. At least it feels about as good as you can get, considering the circumstances that the team as a whole find themselves in. And yeah, they are fighting back. They aren't just falling over and giving in at the very least. They are still down 4K at 14 minutes. It's not really the best situation to be in, to put it lightly. But they're definitely finding angles, and if it wasn't for a really good Glacial Fissure from Liv, it could have very easily gone the way of bot lane of Team Forfire.
Yep. as we're going to just see, yeah, wet noodle fight in the top side. I don't think either of them really have kill pressure unless they overstep. Papito's not finished his first item, but he does have the anti-healing from the Bramble Vest and just a ton of armor from, I was going to say Ninja Tabbies, but that's not the name, and it hasn't been for a long time. That is this plated steel caps, I believe it's called. I'm an old man. Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to hit. As we see on the other side, the X-Bolt Impact doesn't hit, but it doesn't really need to, as it's just a solo 80 carry going down. But on the top side, there's a Braum janking with sword. Oh, stealing charge interrupted by that Darken Blade. A nice play from Yasuo. The Braum roaming gets the kill for him, but on the other side, it is bottom lane plates going down. It is Ember of the Flame dying. Didn't have flash there, and I don't think the barrier timer was up, so it's going to be a trade up top for bot, but the Grubs, the Void Grubs, are in the favor of Baron. Oh my god, the Shockwave missed off the X-Bolt Impact. Maybe Kim Ji-woo can get out of this. It has to flash out of the Impale. Oh, a bit of a misplay from Sleazedoll, not timing the Shockwave perfectly correctly with that X-Bolt Impact means Kim Ji-woo's gonna live. Has to burn both summoners there to get out, and first Perfect does go over to the side of Team 4 Fire, excuse me. But yeah, a lot of gold in the pocket of the Ashe, like you said, can be the carry maybe in that late game scenario with 2 or 3 items. But on the other side of the map, I think Yasuo's very happy to get the first turret there. Oh my god, they continue to fight as we see on the other side. The Encore only hits one. The Braum is very tanky with the flash still available. The stun onto the corner. They have big damage from the flight stacks from the Varus as he has to flash out the corner. Has to run away, but Kim Ji-woo just blows up the Orianna as the TP comes in. On the other side, Yasuo is just 1v1ing to support. Oh my god, the Unbreakable block. The call of the Forge God. Is he still alive somehow? On the other side, Karma Effect has to flash away, but we see now this Aatrox is taking over the team fight. They have a lot of damage. Ornn is taking, but not taking enough. And on the other side, Moxie shows up late to the party, but cleans up. Still, what a nice dinner guest as he just picks up 2 on the backside. It's going to be Sleazedoll and Kodakuda going down to the Jarvan, and they're continuing to play now. They want the ace, they're ganking. They're diving the turn. It is kind of a gank from the Aatrox, as everywhere on the map is just Team Baron Baddies cleaning up on the bot side, on the mid, on the river fight, as we see Moxie just charge the Herald in. This bot lane turn's going to go down to these 3, and I don't think a single member of the Baron Baddies died in that play. So just a beautiful full fight execution from them. They take a tier 2 in the mid, a tier 1 in the bot. They have so much money now. The gold lead balloons to 8,000, and it's just 17 minutes in.
Yeah, and it all starts off of what is an easy like decision or even like mistake to make. I don't even know if at this point would necessarily call it a mistake from the side of Team 4 Fire, considering that they need something to get back to this game. But the Ongar only finds its way on to live, and then Team 4 Fire, they keep committing on to trying to kill the support of Baron Baddies. They don't even get it into the process.
Oh, great. Dragon Drag in. X-Bolt Impact hits the Jarvan, who's not actually very tanky. Gets hit with the Shockwave that Impale onto 2, but they just don't have the damage. Chains of Destruction goes out now in the back line. It's going to be Yasuo just killing them all. Ember Flame is fully untouched. It's a double kill for Yasuo and Aatrox. And now Chains of Destruction as he gets hit with the Flag Drag. Places off his escape, and he's going to go down live. Says, thank you very much. I'll take that one. As it's going to be just 3 free kills, 4 free kills. Actually, I didn't even see Sleazedoll die there. For the side of Baron Baddies, if they get the next dragon on spawn, it just feels like a bit hopeless right now for Team 4 Fire, as they do everything for the play and they cannot get anything off of it. It's going to be 3rd dragon, a lot of plays in this bot side, maybe even the turret for Team Baron Baddies, as we see, yeah, just the members of Team Baddies are just so rich. This is a 2-item rise at 18 minutes, 2-item J4, neither of them have died, and I think Ember's gonna hit the Guinsoo's. It's just looking dire for Team 4 Fire. They have to find a team fight for them where they can get the good conditions if they want to win this game.
Yeah, I feel like we could talk about like conditions and like stuff as much as we want, but the simple fact remains is that Baron Baddies are over 10k gold up before the 20-minute mark is an impressive gold lead to accrue for yourself, and even though the look, I mean, necessarily wasn't even ideal, even on like even footing for the side of Team 4 Fire, it just doesn't really feel like there's really much they could have done in that previous scenario. I feel like their best hope of coming back in this game is somehow magically finding an isolated in the lane, or maybe Aatrox.
Yeah, so is isolated. They lose Multiple ultimates on him. Can he heal back enough? A huge Thunder Strike proc makes him. Oh my god, he just 1v4 and goes with the healing. They have no anti-heal for with A-Proc, and now they finish collapsing and get the kill onto Karma Effect. Impale very late to the party, as you see, it's just Sparksy getting wailed on by multiple members. He is making it gets dragged back by the Infernal Flame. That is so unfortunate as Moxie's gonna clean up on the backside. Sleazedoll just obliterated, and Yasuo lost so much damn time for his team. It just obliterated everyone. They could not kill him. We were talking about this in the draft before, Isaac. If they do not kill this Aatrox, he's gonna heal back up, and that's exactly what we saw there. Unkillable world ender to his name. This Aatrox is just, I don't even know how he died the first time, but that means 3 Barons for the Baron Baddies.
Yeah, it was actually a game.
Right.
If you really needed the refresher, but I don't think you really even care, or it matters.
Yeah, you don't turn that one around.
I think so. It's all things like considering. He got ganked like 5 times anyway, and so dying in 1 out of 5 ganks, that's a pretty good record in my opinion. That's drawing pressure your way, right? And yeah, I was saying that maybe it could have been perhaps a pick onto Yasuo. Turns out not even that is looking like it's within the realm of possibility for the side of Team 4Fire. And that's rough. Like, I don't even know how to expand on like this. Insert Prince Zuko talking to Sokka in the blue. Like, yeah, that's rough. But
yeah, that is rough.
But what do you even do at this point? I mean, what you do is do your best to hopefully try and find isolated Ember the Flame and Kim Ji-woo, but that's just super easy to say. The actual task of doing it is, I feel like nigh on impossible is fair in this situation because
trying to chase down. Well, Sparksy gets into the Cataclysm, but he managed to get out with that Ixtal's impact. Being able to move through the lane is pretty useful there, and they're just throwing everything at Yasuo. I don't think they can kill him. He's way from Cinder. Now in the backline, into Jarvan, and knock up onto 2. Impale only hits 1 person. You see the Barrett is untouched, doing big damage, but maybe they go too far. As the bomb goes down to the shutdown, almost to this Ash, but now Yasuo's back in the fight. The Aatrox makes so much space, and the Barrett is again completely untouched. I mean, there was a bit of a deep dive, but that was a 4v5 as the Rise wasn't even there. He's just pushing on the side lanes. The health bars are breaking for the side of Team 4Fire, as now it's going to be Baron Baddies waiting for the next wave. The Braum does go down. I mean, it was a shutdown, to be fair, to the Ash, which is, not an insignificant amount of gold, but I don't think they can keep up the defense just due to how low the health bars are. The tier 3 turret is going to get chipped away. I'm not sure if this Baron will actually kill it, as we see multiple members are back up. It was a 1-for-1. I mean, that's the best you could really hope for in this situation, Isaac. As it's going to be, they're just backing off with the Baron. I think Dragon is going to be up in about 40 seconds here. They're going to likely reset and just take Soul to end the game. But now they have a collapse on the Rise. Pops the Realm Warp to get out of there, just barely out of the way of Sparksy. So nice escape from the Rise, but I think it's just tying the knot and dotting the T's here for this last little bit of the game.
Here.
Oh, flash invested also by Sparksy on the Garner. Gets trapped back into the Cataclysm, and now Moxie goes legendary. Seraphim was in the wrong place, wrong time. Shockwave hits on the 2, but it doesn't matter. Kim Ji will blast him with the overload. Now Wolf Ender in the mid lane is chasing down this 4. AD carry Koda Kuno doesn't even die to the last bit of the Q3. He just dies to the Baron minions, as it's going to be just a clean 3-for-0. I don't even think they want the Dragon Soul. They just want blood at this point, as they're going to knock down this tier 3 turret in mid lane. This might be the push to the end, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, the wave pushing in. They probably could have looked for a fight angle here, for being completely honest, but they're playing a bit safe.
Ember the Flame. Oh, a 3-man impale to a 3-man. Actually, the knock gets stopped by the Embrace One. Still a 3-man knock up from the Turing card. Orco on the 2, they have so much CC, but again, they have no damage as Ember the Flame goes on a rampage, firing on them. It's a double kill for him. Oh my god, Moxie just has all the balls in the world, just jumps into the backline. He has no threat on him. He's just auto-attacking down the Ash and taking 0 damage in the process. Fight as much as you want, but Koda Kuno cannot get it done. flash forward from Mr. Aatrox, the World Ender, for a double kill. Call him Mr. Worldwide, but I think he's ending the game right now, as again, they're not going for the soul, they're just going for the end. It's a 4 for 1, and the only ones left standing is Karma in effect, who has to walk. Their Nexus gets destroyed. A very clean game 1 from the Baron Baddies, putting Team 4 Fire in the dirt. As we jump into the victory screen, Isaac, I mean, that was a bit of a shellacking.
Yeah.
What are the Team 4 Fire going to do to come back in game 2?
I feel like it's one of those where, like, in a competitive scene with multiple games in a series, you just gotta go, okay, right, like, that one went poorly. You know, you don't get any bonus points for winning with a big margin. Like, it's still one win all the same. I feel like Team 4 Fire, you come back, you reassess your draft in the first place. I mean, even though considering how one-sided the game was, I don't exactly know how much the draft like truly mattered, at least in this one game specifically. But I feel like maybe you put, if you want to stick Moxie or not Moxie, Sparkzy on like these more like supportive or like tanky sort of junglers, you need some sort of extra damage elsewhere. I mean, the amount of times he showed up top on the Skarner, but he only has an Ornn to help out going into an Aatrox. It just didn't really matter. It was basically ineffective, which made any sort of impact that Sparksy wanted to have early on to get them ahead just completely ineffective. And yeah, so I think they could definitely reassess the draft a bit. They definitely need a little bit more damage for themselves. And then, but other than that, you know, because the game went the way it is, you just scrap that one. I mean, the wise words of Ted Lasso, and be a goldfish about it.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to be Ted Lasso and come back from that game 1. Like you said, winning that hard in game 1 does not mean you have an advantage in game 2. So I hopefully Team 4 Fire can take a mental reset. You know, maybe think about drafting a comp with a bit more damage. I mean, Kodakuno was actually doing really well there on the Ashe, even though he was set very far back in the game. So I'd, you know, like to see them put on a carry similar to, you know, maybe like a Azeri, a Jinx, something that can take over the game with that lane pressure, because for a majority of it, they did have the pressure until, you know, Moxie's Jarvan just kind of took over, but they got a couple of, you know, 2v2 ISO kills. They won the matchup for the most part. It was just that the rest of the map was a bit too, you know, unsalvageable for them to come back. So yeah, if you don't have any other thoughts, Isaac, yeah, anything else before we jump to a quick break?
No, I think that's it. We'll be back with the draft of game 2 after this short break, so don't go anywhere.
Hello, hello. Good night to everyone who's still watching. Thank you for joining us for game two of what is Risen Esports' Premier Tuesday League because we're the only one, baby. Bamis division for season 16 Winter Team Builder. As it's me, Kevin Dunk, joined by the one and only Isaac Cass to take you into game two between the Baron Baddies, who had a decisive game one win against Team 4 Fire, who are looking to claw it back in the salty run back game. Yeah, Isaac, anything you want to share about game one or what we should look at for game two?
Would specify that it's not going to be a salty run back game because it is a fearless draft. And as good as I think fearless draft has been in general, it is literally impossible to get salty run backs. And even then, I don't think Team 4 would. I would not encourage them to do a salty run back, even if it was possible. So it is what it is. But Team 4 Fire obviously did not look great in that first game. But it comes to a point where sometimes you just lose so hard early that it doesn't matter how good the looks you have or like you got. Like it just doesn't matter because of like wallet gap. And I do think Team 4 Fire did have a few like decent looks, especially in the latter half of that game, but they were already down 6 or 7K. So despite it, they ended up, getting walked over. But but like I said, be a goldfish, throw that out the, out the window, lock in for game two. And because of those like handful of moments that I saw, I'm not like completely writing off Team 4 Fire for this one. I think if they can get themselves a bit more of a of damage in their composition, I think it'll be all right considering who they have. I think like Spark Z maybe on something like the Xin Zhao or like Pantheon because he clearly wanted to gank a lot early on. I feel like could be quite all right. I know it's not Plush Sama in the top lane, and I'm not familiar with Pepito's champ pool, so I don't know what they could necessarily bring to kind of help bring that around. But I think just a few small changes could definitely push them over their edge and give them into game. Oh my goodness, and send us into game three. Jeez. Wow.
All good there, Isaac. I know the words are going to be hard because Baron Baddies and Team Five Fire have been giving us such a great match so far. As we're going to see Baron Baddies pick up the Nico first pick, a very strong champion in the support, but it's going to be counterpicked by the Karma, another strong, very powerful laning champion. Something like the Karma Ezreal would be great for Team 4 Fire, who did kind of have bot lane. I'd say they'd had not dominance, but they had the aggression, they had the pressure on Baron Baddies until, the Baron Baddies team kind of pulled up to make bot lane a living nightmare for the Varus, for the Ashe, and when the Varus was kind of getting us chain CC'd a bunch. But yeah, I mean, I like this counter pick, but again, this kind of gets to the point where you're like kind of worried about damage. Oh, like you said, it's going to be the Pantheon.
Yeah.
Yeah, locked in for Team 4 Fire. I actually really like Karma Pantheon because it's such a strong support jungle roam. Karma can kind of back up the Pantheon, give him the move speed to catch up with that shield vault, jump on him, follow up with that tether for the root. Yeah, big fan of it. I played Pantheon a couple of games myself in the jungle. He feels really great when you have that extra move speed and just a little bit more damage and CC from your support. As we're going to see Yunara locked in for Baron Baddies. No, Nico Yunara. I mean, that I don't know how you feel about that, Isaac, but that is to me a very scary bottom lane.
Yeah, it's not the like scariest one ever. At least early on, Yunara does take a little bit to get going, but I mean, it's one of those things where the Nico early on like carries the slight weakness that Yunara has, and it is a very potent bottom lane, especially as things go on. I mean, the amount of times I've seen multi team member pop blossoms that have absolutely wreaked havoc on their targets is more than I have fingers and toes, so I don't know what number that would necessarily be. Vi's the lock in, and the response of the Xayah though is interesting. I think I see what they're going with on the side of Team 4 Fire with the Xayah. She does really good into like compositions that want to dive you and like get onto you. You'll be able to use the Feather Storm to be able to deny most of that, and once it comes through, you then just bring the feathers back with the Blade Caller. Yeah. Either way, I forget the name of the E specifically.
Yep, Blade Caller, you're right on the dot.
Yeah, it is Blade Caller. Cool. And then you snare a bit up, and it works really well. I just feel like when you pick it kind of this early, it's easy to then go something like, I mean, Rise is already missing in the in the mid lane, but something like, I don't know, Victor, and then just not care at all about what Zaya does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Victor is a really good champion. I mean, the problem, like you said, picking Zaya early is that lack of range, and I think we're already seeing it a bit with Pantheon, Karma, Zaya. You're kind of really relying on that Pantheon to get the speed up for any engage you want. While Baron baddies already have Vi and Nico, and some of the things that I've said constantly, and I think you see reflected in both pro games to your solo queue games, that a lot of the time, if you have the engage, it's just so much easier to play the game. I mean, last game Baron baddies sorry, Team Four Fire had a ton of engage, just didn't have the damage, and now they're kind of lacking on the engage while they have a lot of safety. So we're gonna have to see how this kind of like anti-dive comp can play against Baron baddies who have, not exactly a dive comp, but a lot of champions that do want to go in directly, right, with that Vi Nico combo. So we're gonna have to see maybe a more aggressive champion from the side of Baron baddies to follow up on the dive, or maybe some more peel for Four Fire to round out this team comp. As we see the last couple bans, is that 5 mid lane bans from Team Four Fire? Man, they really do not want Kim Ji-woon on one of their champions, as it's going to be Yasuo, TF, Zed, Akali, Yone all banned
I will
out
say,
for
I will say,
that
the
person.
Yasuo and the Zed are specifically for Yasuo, who is playing in the top lane. And I mean,
Makes
Yasuo
sense.
even brought out Zed top last week, so I guess technically within the context of these two teams, it's not necessarily 5 mid lane picks, but or mid lane bans, but I see what you're going for with the idea of Vel'Koz is hovered late.
Wow. Okay. Vel'Koz's blind pick is definitely a champion. I don't know if it fits exactly into what Team Four Fire is doing. I see Vel'Koz as a champion that really needs frontline setup and kind of, or maybe you play it in a poke comp. I think it's actually better against the Xayah than with it, but maybe they got something spicy cooking for the top side, as it's going to be the Ahri locked in for Baron baddies. And yeah, I like that against the Vel'Koz being able to dodge out of a lot of his CC. That tectonic disruption is very easy to dodge with the Spirit Rush. So we're gonna have to see if Kim Ji-woo has the hands to kind of pull it off. Yeah, thoughts on the Vel'Koz, Isaac?
I I'm not a fan right now. Uh, I feel you've already kind of covered the reasons why. Cause like, how is this guy going to be given the space he needs to either poke people down, or how is he going to be given the team to set up for a really nice life form disintegration array? Right? Like, it feels really tough with what Team Four Fire has around the Vel'Koz to do much with it, especially with, I mean, not especially with Sion getting locked in, but especially like the Ahri as well. There are many options to be able to pick out this Vel'Koz. I mean, even if like Vi commits onto the Karma or what have you, there's still there even like a Tangle Barbs or a Pop Blossom that could very easily pick up this Vel'Koz out on the side. And Set getting locked in as a counter, though, to the Sion is one that we don't necessarily see all that often in pro play, but it's fun, right? The idea with this is that Set, as he gets the auto attacks empowered early on, and it actually does pretty okay into Sion. But as the game goes on, Sion gets infinite health, which gives Set infinite damage into the enemy team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the math checks out. I think infinite equals infinite. So you're not wrong there, Isaac. I mean, I'm not a
Right?
mathematician, but I know what you're talking about.
Well,
I do
technically,
like that.
infinity isn't a number, but
Well,
that's when.
yeah. The scaling still checks out, but I get what you mean. I mean, the set is really good, I think, into the Scion. I think if they can find the angles, in that straight up team fight, I think it's going to be very effective. But one thing about Baron baddies is that they don't really want to play, I think, a traditional front to back comp, right? Vi and Ari and Nico are going to all be looking for flank angles. I think Yunara is like relatively safe enough that you don't have to play like a traditional front to back comp. But even if you do have that option, you have the Scion. I mean, I think that's the only chance you'll get a set, crazy showstopper engage. But for Fire, they really are relying on that showstopper, or maybe just like a speed up into a Pantheon stun for them to catch someone out. So again, I'm kind of leaning on the side of Baron baddies for the draft here, just because I don't think For Fire have enough tools to kind of get the fight started when they need to, when Baron baddies just have so much more, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Vi, Nico, I mean, Yunara can even run at them versus someone like Xayah. I mean, already signed, they all have such great initiation tools. And for Fire, you're really relying on that single target stun, or maybe just praying for a big set wombo combo. I mean, if the wombo combo hits, which we've seen before in their games, right? For Fire last game, they actually hit a bunch. They just didn't have the damage. Maybe if they line up all of the Boldingkins again, they can knock down the Baron baddies.
Yeah, I feel like it would probably be okay for Team Fire if they had pretty much anyone else other than Vel'Koz. If I'm being completely honest, someone who could also help peel things back, or like has that little bit of extra mobility to absorb the pressure that Baron Baddies want to throw at them. Because I mean, as soon as like Vi goes in, uses her ult, and as soon as the Blossom goes, as soon as the Unstoppable Force gets used by Baron Baddies, they commit all these abilities, and then they kind of struggle outside of the Yunara to really continue a fight. So I feel like if you replaced Vel'Koz with, I don't know, off the top of my head, maybe something like Azir, perhaps, or even like Aurora, who can, go invisible and, buy that space. I feel like it'd probably be all right for them. I feel like Vel'Koz in this particular instance is the reason why he's not particularly meta, because he only fits into very specific scenarios, and this is not one of those very specific scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a traditional poke comp. I think you don't really have a traditional front line like we were talking about before. I mean, if they pick Sion, I think I would actually really like that because Sion can be that big meat body as you're trying to focus him down and he's disrupting. Vel'Koz can hit a lot of good angles and, just get off an ultimate if they're focusing the Sion too hard. I was going to say Syndra would be a great pick, but I mean, that's been banned, so great drafting from Baron Baddies. I do think Fire do have like a creative angle for the plays if they're able to get something like a surprise, like set ulti into like the full Vel'Koz ult. It's big, right? Baron Baddies doesn't have really a lot of frontline outside of the Scion. So if they manage to get it, it's big. But again, yeah, there's just so much disruption from. I mean, Ari can get away from that engage. Unara's pretty safe, can get away from that too. Nico is, wants you to fight into her due to the Pop Blossom. So yeah, just I think the team it's gonna come down ultimately to the team fights because I don't see any champions here that are like they're gonna blow out lane completely. But yeah, thoughts, Isaac, on kind of do you have a team comp that you'd rather
I
be
think
in if you were playing?
I would be hesitant to say that there are no lanes that can be blown out completely, because I feel like Set, especially if he gets a nice early setup with like a kill, can start to deny Scion. Obviously, inevitably, Scion is Scion, but I definitely think that there is that option there for Team Fire. It's not completely like even without any like definite one-sided things. But I mean, if I were to like if you gave me a solo queue game and you said, hey, pick a comp that you want to play, I'd be like, all right, give me Baron Baddies comp just about every single time. And yeah, Team Fire once again, it's better than last time around. I will say, I'm still not fully convinced by it though.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta totally agree with you there. It's not I would not be opting into the Fire comp because yeah, it's just so scary to kind of go against something like Nico via Ari, especially since we don't have a lot of counter engage or peel ourselves, right? I mean, our best thing is like a Karma Shield and run away or set ulting them back to kind of suicide by himself. Is he caught in a 1v5? I mean, maybe Pepito, kind of goes crazy on the set and does like a nice play to make an engage for their team. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Isaac. I would much rather have the draft of the Baron Baddies again. So yeah, I think we're having a couple of things going on in the draft lobby. So for everyone still watching, maybe throw your predictions in the chat. And yeah, Isaac, is there anything you want to chat about as we kind of sort these issues out?
No, I think it's probably a good time to send it to a break. Obviously, it'll probably be a little bit longer this time around because the league client is being the league client. I mean, right? That's just how it goes sometimes. But I mean, that just gives us time to, fix out these issues. And we will be back for the start of game 2 when we return from the short break. So we'll see you in a little bit.
Hello, hello, fans of Risen Esports. We are back at it. Kevin Dunk and Isaac Casts, thanking you for
Welcome
waiting
to
through the break
Summer's
with us.
Rift.
League client is about as broken as Release Xinjiao
Yeah.
was. So, you know what's really broken? We had some struggles getting the client to work, but now we are
Minions
back
have
after the
spawned.
spectator delay for Game 2 between Team Baron Baddies and Team 4 Fire. So yeah, Isaac, take us through this early game. We got some spicy looking comps on Team 4 Fire. Maybe they can turn around in this game too after what was a pretty one-sided game 1.
Yeah, we've had some time, so as a quick rundown, a lot of what Team 4Fire wants to do is absorb this initial pressure that the side of Baron Baddies has available to them, at least for the most part. It's a bit weird with the Vel'Koz in the mix on how they're going to be able to do that. Obviously, he does have the knock-up, and a good use of that technically can add to that. It's just not the most reliable use ever. And then on the side of Baron Baddies, yeah, more standard in what they want to do. There's a lot of options to like go in on, whether it be the Pop Blossom, whether it be a good angle on a charm with the Spirit Rush, or just Yasuo running into the middle of everybody with an unstoppable onslaught can even be a viable option as well for them. So it'll have to come down to whether or not Team 4Fire can absorb that initial blow or not. I think if they can, they could be all right. But if they don't, then well, yeah, I mean, you're dead. There's nothing else to really expand off over that one. But obviously we'll have to wait and see. I think there could be a few wild cards in this. Namely, I think Pito with the set into Scion matchup could definitely start to take over, especially early on. I haven't seen too much of it just yet, so I'm not fully confident that will happen, especially as that Haymaker doesn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah, Haymaker goes wide. Yasuo's actually winning out on these trades, which is not really what you want to see in the set versus Sion matchup. I think one big part of that is that Pepito's not running actually any combat strength summoner. He's going for the phase rush, which is pretty interesting tech. I haven't actually seen that on set before. I'm pretty used to something like the Conqueror or the Grasp, so that might be why he's kind of on the losing end of these trades, especially with the D Blade against the D Shield. Already pops the first potion, but on the other side, in contrast, I think the bot side of Team 4Fire very happy with this bot lane push. I mean, Karma's such a strong early game champion, very healthy lanes as Ember the Flame is pushed to about 40% HP. As we see the Inspire go up. Okay, no trading there. I think I think Baron Baddies knows that their bot lane moves in the early game, so they're playing this very safe.
Yeah, and they need to. It doesn't feel great, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. It doesn't help that Ember the Flame is taken decently low, especially in those really those earlier trades that we saw. But the idea behind the phase rush on the set, of course.
Set maybe needing that phase rush right now. He already burned the flash and the TP back, so if he dies here, it's pretty bad for him. Moxie doing big damage. Roar of the Slayer reduces the armor, and it's first blood to Moxie after what was a very successful gank right after Pepito invested the TP, so that is huge for this Scion to get more time to outscale the set. Just a really not great early goal, a big chunk though from that Blade Caller onto Ember. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, Isaac, but I think as set, you're supposed to be dominating this lane, going for 2v1s, but they just got ganked, and now they're behind over 2 waves in farm, and doesn't have the TP to make it back for this full wave.
Yeah, the no flash, no TP makes that absolutely disastrous for Pepito in the top lane. I mean, he's already 10 CS down, and I kind of said it already. We said it a few times that really want to be looking forward to Pepito taking over this lane. I've never seen the phase rush on the set before. I could maybe see what he was going for, because you get the quick auto attacks off. It allows you to proc it fairly quickly as the set. I feel like how you have to use it would be to, auto, and then I don't know, face breaker, get the move speed, and then just do that on repeat when the cooldown is back up. But I don't know the exact numbers behind it, but right now it's not looking great.
Yeah, doing some great poking here as we see. Oh my god, over the wall. It's just going to be the Comet Spear. Sparksy sniped them from the Fog of War. Nice job from Karma, in effect, doing Karma things, just blasting them with the continued Soul Flare. And even got that tether onto the Nico to make sure that she had to run away and couldn't body block. So that early bot lane dominance over, 20 CS lead for Kodakuno Zaya. I mean, Birdman playing the Bird very well means that they're going to get an early prio and secure first dragon right around 5:54.
Yeah, that means even though
it's like 45. I can't read.
Well, I mean, 54-45. It's before the 6-minute mark, which is really early take. A good timer for them to be able to pick that up, especially as it means that there is 2 minutes actually before the Void Grubs spawn for them to be able to respond to that and potentially start hitting these neutral objectives early on, and start to slowly build themselves advantages that they can use to run away with, especially with how this bot lane is going. Obviously, we would have preferred if Pepito wasn't struggling in the manner that they are currently, but
Phase Rush was popped already. Now around the side, making the turret pop for the ultimate. The Haybreaker does big damage and a nice Bolt Breaker out. Kim Jiwoo over the side collects the kill. A nice roam timer from this Ahri to collect what is, a lot of, not a lot, but a decent amount of gold for that roam. I mean, it does mean their mid lane's going to get pushed out. They are going to lose a bit of progress on that roll quest, but still a decent gank. 3-man play from the top side. Very well executed dive to set Pepito further behind.
Yeah, and I feel at this point, outside of a really good showstopper, lined up perfectly for Pepito, or a really big haymaker as well.
Level 6 on the Zaya. Now they're choosing to fight. Ember Flame still gets hit with the root though, and it's going to be a kill over to Kodakuno Zaya. Nice use of the Feather Storm for that big damage combined with the Blade Call, and I think the flash from Ember was just too late. They used the Kanmei step to get closer, not further away from this bot lane duo, and it means Kodakuno and Karma are taking over this bot lane. That's going to be a kill, a wave crash in fully, and a plate for this Bird. So very far ahead now, almost doubling the CS. And I think that's 2 plates actually. Wow, that's even more money. So bot lane of Team 4 Fire is looking very good right now. Hopefully can make up the gap in the top side.
Yeah, the bot lane's going about as well as you could.
Flash out of the... Oh my god, a nice charm to cancel right after. I think that was the shield vault canceled from Kim Jiwoo, who does have to invest the flash, but that is Sparksy wasting, or not wasting, but investing the ultimate, the Grand Starfall there being used to trade it for the flash. It is a very long cooldown. It's about, I think, 3 minutes at level 1. But, I mean, that does mean Sleazdal is a lot more offensive pressure, knowing that the Ahri cannot just flash out of the full combo.
Yeah, but the Spirit Rush is on pretty short cooldown. It's going to be coming back up in just a few minutes. So, there is no flash for Kim Jiwoo, and flash is definitely more effective as mobility tools in the Spirit Rush. There are still plenty of options for Kim Jiwoo to be able to escape or even find a way in. I mean, you get 3 casts of it, that's before you get any resets on Spirit Rush, so it's hardly...
Oh, great flash showstopper into the turret means Yasuo takes decent damage. 2 turret shots means they're both low on health, but Pepito invested flash and ultimate to not get a kill there. And Yasuo, I think, is just happy to farm up this wave. Has the call for a bit of healing, but that is, that's pretty considerable investment from the top side to not get a kill as we see bot lane. Okay, no dive there, but Yasuo's been playing extremely well. I'm not sure if you saw that earlier, but kited out the first face breaker to get a very favorable trade and just is about to, I think, take a free reset to be even tank here. So, yeah, tale of 2 lanes. I mean, bot side winning hard for one and top side losing hard for the same. So, yeah, Isaac, which team would you rather have right now, a losing bot or a losing top?
I feel like the losing bot lane isn't really as...
Flash bot blossom into the season. Sorry to cut you off there, brother. As we see the Feather Storm invested, flash over the wall into the shield wall. Dinar taking very low hits the part of Judgment, but it is just straight over on the front right now. The roam from the mid laner. The life form disintegration wave kills live just in a flash there, as it's now 0-3-1 for Ember, as it's only 1 kill traded back, and it's 2 for the side of Team 4Fire. Unfortunately, it is Vi picking up the kill, so that is good for them, but on the other side, this Yunara is set very far behind the Zaya, who's almost at that Essence Reaver, likely will have it on that next back.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that I feel like I would prefer to have the losing bot lane in this specific scenario, because eventually the Yunara will become useful given enough time. But if they keep putting Ember the lane further and further behind like this, I feel like the usefulness of the sets isn't necessarily all that great, but I have definitely seen some late game haymakers, like fully charged with the grids, that completely just end you or an entire team. Like, there is still that opportunity for them. Into that.
Yeah, we see Pantheon running up, gets slowed down by the charm. Kim Ji-woo does not have flash for the ulti, pops the Foxfire for a bit more movement speed. The Plasma Fission hits for the slow, and that's just an easy cleanup from Sparkzy. As we see, oh my god, the unstoppable onslaught from downtown. He cannot get the knockup as it's a flash away from Sleazedoll's Velotos. Now Sparkzy's doing big damage with that Comet Sphere. Has one more shield ball, and the true damage cleans it up for Mr. Sparkzy as he gets a double kill there. A very nice, attempt from Yasuo to try to push their lead, but it's not enough to actually fight over that, as it's just Sparkzy taking over the game. It's like, as we see the dragon, almost stolen over. I don't think Sparkzy had the smite there, so luckily Moxie's able to get that scot-free and walk away, but right now this Pantheon is starting to become a problem for the team of Baron Baddie.
Yeah, has access to the Sunbird Sky, is a really large power spike for Pantheon and really all of its users, including Moxie, though I don't necessarily know how, not necessarily how, it is obviously impactful on Vi, but I should specify is how the margin of difference between the Pantheon and the Vi, of its effectiveness, if that makes sense. Or is that? I mean, actually,
yeah, it makes sense, but I'm gonna have to cut you off as we see just another 3-man play on the set. Doesn't even have time for the haymaker. It's a roam from Kim Ji-woo, investing that Spirit Rush to get a quick burst kill. Moxie picks that one up again, so now tied in kills with Sparkzy's Pantheon. It seems like it's a tale of 2 junglers and, them trying to make as much happen on the map. But that means, look at this turret go down. Since Team Baron Baddie's got the early Void Grubs, that means he's going to chunk down this tower. I think it's going to be faster than the side of Team 4Fire. Yeah, I mean, Pito is just having a terrible time, not even finished the first item, while Yasuo is just farming freely, almost finished the call, just getting free waves, and I think is going to likely take this turret down with the help of the Void Grubs buff.
Yeah, and this is the sort of game that I was actually looking forward to in Game 1, and I'm glad that we are getting it in Game 2, where the bot lane of Team 4Fire was definitely the bright spot in their defeat last week, that at least at any time it felt like that they were going to come back into those games, it was going to be through Kodakuno and Karma in effect, and likewise in Baron Baddies' domination last week, a lot of that came through Yasuo and his performance. So I'm really glad that we're seeing, like, a tale of 2 side lanes of, like, which one will be the one to be able to bring their team over the line, because
Ulti invested, that's the Grand Star
nice
yeah, for that Transcendence. A nice Tangle Barbs right off the cuff from the ultimate to stop Pantheon in their place. Didn't have flash to avoid that for that guaranteed shield vault, but Ember did invest that Transcend oneself, the ultimate, to get away from that, and that means I think that free time Kodakuno has Essence Reaver, very powerful for taking down turrets. I think they're going to be able to take down this turret. No more plates. Oh, actually, no, there's still plates after 14. I'm an old man, but they're going to get that full turret gold for themselves.
Yep, every turret has plates now. Unk. Get with the times, man. No, it's
I'm an old man yelling at a cloud.
No, it's okay. I do not know the number of times last season where I was like 20 minutes. That means Baron. It was at 25 minutes last year. Before we get to that.
Teambuilder getting very aggressive with the flank from the Nico. It's the flash invest. Actually, no flash. Just straight up whipped. Pop Blossom hits nothing but a nice charm, but what the heck was that? I think Kim Ji-woo just fat fingered their keyboard because they flashed in the same direction as the ultimate. As we see now, the showstopper, like you said, it's big, and it's enough to get the kill for Mr. Sparksy as it's going to be over the wall. The blast code screwing over the Nico, but the sensing damage. And downtown again, the snipe from Sparksy on the Comet Sphere. It's now a 4v5 here. Very healthy health bars from the side of Team 4 Fire, and it was just a mega whiffed engage. I don't know how to explain it, but
yeah.
I think they flashed into the wall, and Kim Ji-woo did the same, hit the charm, and then immediately flashed backwards. So yeah, just a lot of whiff tools.
It was really weird because, I mean, there was perhaps a good angle, especially since the charm landed onto Sleazel. Felt like that could be a decent amount of poke. I don't think he had lethal onto Sleazel, but it definitely would have taken him, decently low. But then flashed through the spear orb backwards away from Sleazel, and then flashed towards not the spear orb, the orb of deception. Sorry, portmanteauing ability names. But the point still stands is that Kim Ji-woo threw it in the opposite direction of Sleazel despite landing the charm, and then also flashed again in that said opposite direction. So it was just a really messy misplay in general, but especially from Kim Ji-woo. It stuck out to me the most.
100% Isaac. I mean, I was so baffled I didn't know what to say anymore. I mean, I saw a missed Pop Blossom into a failed flash, and look on the side of Team 4 Fire. I mean, they might as well be playing at 5 because they're doing really well this game because, yeah, there's 0 flashes invested essentially from the entire team other than Papito, so it's just a double whiff engage. That means a lot of tools are down for this next Dragon fight with, I think, 5 Fire setting up against a nice charm, does some damage with the Volt Breaker, goes wide. Sparksy is very strong right now, has 4 kills, hasn't died yet. Kodakuna now working on that Navord Quick Blades. I mean, his first item, but this Dragon is falling down very quickly. Some nice poke from the Soul Flare. Karma throwing out that annoying Fireball, but I think this might be secured unless they go for the steal. It's going to be stolen. A nice job from Moxie as this is a huge fight, maybe going in the other direction. But they do pop off them. 1 to 2 Yasuo picks up the kill. Like, away. Goes wide as the shutdown go over to Moxie. It's a huge showstopper into a triple man stun from the Haymaker, and Ion finds the good to get the kill. But they speed up the Grand Starfall from the other side, and it's just a 1-2-3. Yasuo managed to hit the detonating smash, so can they survive this? They flash out of the tectonic disruption, and they're trying to avoid more damage, but they cannot. It's one last Comet Sphere to the face, kills the Scion, and slowed up by the Plasma Vision. It's going to be 3 kills or just the one that they did successfully steal the Dragon, meaning that soul stacking has effectively stopped. Just a crazy team fight. I mean, I thought it was a great Pop Blossom angle, but Kodakuna actually ulted out of it, and then the Pantheon used the Aegis Assault to actually take no damage from it, so the CC was really only on the Karma, and they couldn't kill Sparksy, who ulted back in to turn around the fight. I mean, unfortunately, positioning from Kodakuna dies there to the Scion, but really only Yasuo could get anything done in that fight because that showstopper, like you said, Isaac, sometimes it's just the showstopper is one big fight is all you need, and they found it in that team fight.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times that it just doesn't matter. That set is, well, in this case, was 0-3, and it just, finds the one big angle on the back end of that fight. I feel like it was Team 4 Fire's like favorite up until that point, but as soon as the showstopper came through, it is the most aptly named. No, not the most aptly named ability in the game, because that would go to Paranoia. But it's definitely a good shoe-in for a number 2, and we saw it just there in that previous fight. I mean, just completely rights all his wrongs from earlier on, and does a really good job of getting things back to the side of Team 4 Fire. Not back to the side of Team 4 Fire, but like continuing their way to the side of Team Forward Fire. That being said, despite the kills advantage, not all that
Oh, the gank though on the bottom side. Season's Assist invested. The Spirit Rush as well. I don't think Vel'Koz can get out of this one as Sleazedoll's gonna go down. Two, just one more auto attack is collected by Kim Ji-woo, which is a very much needed kill, I think, to get them further ahead in gold. I mean, they're almost on second item, so big play there. I mean, that's just one of the problems with the Vel'Koz, right? Without Flash, you cannot side lane, especially against Aru, that just guarantee the lockdown there. And I think that's going to be side lane pressure here for Team Baron Baddies collecting plates on this tier 1. I'm a bit surprised, honestly, that Jiwoo is not going to keep going because they have vision on everyone. But I think on this top side, they're looking for a play on Yasuo.
Yeah, they are looking for this Scion. I don't think it's nearly in time. There is a rival, what looks like probably Moxie through the lane. It's hard to tell on the mini-map when there is a Nico and this one is through. It is what it is. Return thumbs up.
Okay, Bolt Breaker in on the Karma, actually, but the knockup from the Rift Herald stops any engage. I mean, that is Rift Herald invested for some decent damage on topside turret, but I think Yasuo's on the turret. I think he's just gonna throw 5 man in topside. We're just playing Earth when you're level 1, you know? You just cannon up to the top lane and fist fight for no reason. I mean, I mean, you were talking about solo queue before. This is what solo queue is, I think.
Yeah, I do love it in solo queue games when you get, I guess, I suppose you get rats, all random, all top.
I mean, Rats is right. They're just fighting over nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Baron's up technically. But even then, that's a cope. That's that's super cope. No, but I mean, it is what it is. Despite all of that, as extra kills, Team Forward Fire still somehow down in gold collectively. A large part of that, I think, is in the hands of Yasuo specifically, as well as Kim Ji-woo. On this R with 2 kills, up on CS as well. I think Kodakuno, though, being as ahead as they are and how good they are at absorbing damage, or absorbing the engage that Baron Baddies has, it's not nearly. Dire's too strong. It's still relatively even, and I don't think there is as much concern on the side of Team Forward Fire because at 21 minutes is somewhat
A lot of shadows. I'm sorry, I'm not wrong, but the champion wants so much pain for themselves. The set is here for the showstopper. Can they get the champion? They cannot live. Goes down to the life form disintegration ray. As we see Set trying to run away. Flash Haymaker hits nothing. Vault Breaker to get out, and it's just a ton of cooldowns burned for no kills on the side of Team 4 Fire. They get out scot-free as, yeah, Baron Baddies just invested a flash Nico ulti, a flash engage from their Ari to get nothing, and that's right before this dragon. So I think this is just likely going to be an uncontested drag, unless they're waiting for the Pantheon to get back. Yep.
They have to give their Pantheon's ult, and he can arrive at any moment. I mean, there's still no ults to the side of Baron Baddies. So even if they try to fight this, they don't have a Pop Blossom, they don't have Spear Rush, they don't have anything. They have no economy. So yeah, the best thing they can do is move to the spin lane. I do like that recognition from them. It took them a little bit to eventually move away, but they, yeah, absolutely have to concede any sort of pressure around the Drake, which is a little bit unfortunate for them. Obviously, they would have preferred to be on Soul Point at this point in time, but, you know, 1 Drake, or I guess 2 technically, is not necessarily anything you need to worry about on the side of Baron Baddies.
Yeah, absolutely, Isaac. I think you're right on the dot there. You'd rather not lose the team fight just for, 3rd Drake, which is not worth a ton right now because you do have to wait for Numenera, Vi, Ari, these champions that kind of live and die by their ultimates to have that fight, especially since, if you walk into Xayah Vel'Koz, you're just taking so much poke. You're kind of fighting into the Xayah in the corridor. You're getting ripped apart by the Blade Caller. Yeah, and Ember of the Flame's not even on 2 items yet, so I think they really want to wait for that. I think that's going to be the Runeans build, if not the Fiend Hunter bolts. Hopefully it's the Fiend Hunter, because I don't think you need a AoE right now for the side of Team Baron Baddies. You have enough. Oh, as we see, ulti here traded, ult for ult, Featherstorm for that unstoppable onslaught as Sion still going in, gets the Roar of the Slayer. It's a flash away from that decimating smash. Nice play from Yasuo, but now it's the team of 4 Fire trying to chase back. And wow, yeah, that was Ember the Flame actually investing their ultimate for that. I'm not sure what that was really for. I think it was trying to catch up to get the kill on Kodakuno. I mean, Flash is a pretty key cooldown for a carry. I mean, Kodakuno's ultimate is pretty low cooldown too, thanks to just all that CDR from Navori and Essence Reaver. But yeah, I mean, Ember the Flame is about to hit 2 items, but Kodakuno, once they hit that IE, is going to be a big problem in the team fights.
Even though Ember the Flame did commit to transcend oneself, there's nothing on really to fight over, so it'll be back up by the time, or at least should be back up by the time next fight breaks out. Considering how these two teams have been fighting throughout the series, I don't necessarily know if that's entirely true, but it looks funny. It looks funny, but in the grand scheme of things, it's fine. They should be all right. I think what's more important is that Kodakuno does have no flash. Obviously, Featherstorm will be back up, available, as you mentioned, for any subsequent fights, but not being able to even get further away afterwards would definitely provide some problems for the side of Team 4 Fire if Kodakuno gets caught out, because right now that Xayah is large, or frankly really the only sort of damage that they have.
Yeah, Xayah now hitting that IE power spike, over 60 farm deficit, and 3 kills as well. And I think that doesn't count for all the time Ember has died, right? I mean, just that XP difference means that Kodakuno's in a very powerful position. I think if they're managed to kite it out and kind of play for the fight, if they survive, essentially, 4 Fire will win the fight. And if they don't, I think they kind of live and die by that. And they're just going for the sneaky Baron, but it's on a ward. Position in, Bolt Breaker onto the Karma, as we see them have to back off. Baron is much more dangerous objective now. He's time on going in. Flash off onto 2. Good CC into a full combo from the Ahri. The showstopper onto the Sion. Hits one, but he's on his invested from the Nico. Haymaker from trying to flash away from the Lunara. The knockup, a double kill onto Moxie. Now this chase down. That was the team fight that they needed. Does the Bolt Breaker hit? It's going to go actually past the Pantheon. They want something else, but now this Pantheon's in a 1v3 in the backline. Can they do it? They managed to get one.
Oh my goodness, no way!
But on the backside, it is
oh
still Lunara dies in a 1v3. The Pantheon actually wins it out. I don't know what was worse, letting your Xayah die, or what Baron Baddies just did, giving up their entire backline to this Pantheon. But somehow, some way, it is still Team Baron Baddies that win the fight. They do not have the DPS to take down this Baron. And what was a beautiful engage is returned after, Sparksy just goes full Spartan on the backline and kills everyone in a 3v1. Well, that was miraculous, so to speak. But still, Kodakuno does go down. That is a big shutdown. That is a Xayah that still doesn't have flash, I think, for this next dragon fight. No barrier. This might be what they needed. What Baron Baddies needed to kind of take it to the next fight, as it's dragon up in 20 seconds. But that is a lot of key cooldowns from Team Baron Baddies down as well. 4 Fire don't have to worry about the flash Pop Blossom anymore.
I mean, the strike without warning, I guess. Sparksy. I mean, that there's no right to have completely stopped Baron there, but I mean, with how long-winded that explanation given us, means that there's no time for you to rest.
Oh, and they catch this Pantheon. They have full CC, but the Aegis Assault just blocked so much. Is the team there? The Xayah is doing big damage, but it's now the ultimate from the Vi into the Pop Blossom from the Photo Weapon. Big damage under the turret. The Light from the Integration Spray melts the Nico, but on the backside, it's the Ahri, and now Ember of Flame gets taken out by Kodakuno in a trade deal, but it's still Kodakuno going down, and that's all the damage from the side of 4 Fire. Team 4 Fire losing 3 members, and it's only 2 that fall, just the bot lane of Team Baron Baddies, meaning I think this is control of the dragon for the side of Baron Baddies.
They will pick up their 3rd Drake of the game, and to be completely honest, it's perhaps undeserved, a bit too strong a word, because they're off of really good skills of Moxie. Charm lands though.
Yeah, Charm lands the flash to follow. The unstoppable onslaught misses, but it doesn't matter. It just cuts off the escape as Kim Ji-woo. A nice charm angle, but they did invest the flash. Means the Karma died for that. But Baron is up off of this timer. I'm not sure if either team wants to go for it.
Karma, in effect, obviously recently killed, does have 20 seconds before they respawn, which means it could be a potential angle, a potential take for Baron Baddies. It'd be a very big objective for them to take, for them to finally truly start to blow this game open. The gold lead is still in their favor by about 4K, which is a non-insignificant amount, but picking up Baron would, expand that even further. 5.5K from just the gold from killing the Baron alone. They're not going to risk it though. Instead, they are just going to try to set up around the Baron, try to force a response from the side of Team Warfire, but had some vision already placed down.
Great look at the flank though. Yasuo has it. As we see here, the shield vault in. Oh, just testing the waters here for Sparksy. He's playing a bit dangerously because that Siren is so tanky, can lock you up with the CC. I think, yeah, Baron Baddies are looking for something, for anything. They want the angle just to get one pick, because I think still, even though Warfire are down about 4K gold, if they get the front-to-back team fight they want, that can be a team fight win if the Xayah is allowed to shred, if the Vel'Koz gets free time, but it's just a lot of ifs. As you see, mid-wave being tested, both of them want access to this dragon. Pepito looking for the showstopper on the sign, but Yasuo doing very good spacing to keep him away.
Classic in a League of Legends. Brings me right back to...
Oh wait, the knockup goes up. They have the catch onto the Pantheon. They get a lot of damage blocked. A huge showstopper.
Oh, yeah.
The haymaker. On the other side, it beats the Lifelorn Disintegration ray hits. Just live. It's always him dying to it. Just a 1-for-1 now. It's off for support, but now Kota Kuno shredding through his bye as we see Baron Baddies running for the hills. Can they get the kill? It is. It's a shutdown onto Moxie's bye. As you see the shred keep going, the feathers ripping through the entire team of Team Baron Baddies. Kota Kuno got the fight they wanted. They were able to take over. The smite to follow. Oh, the comments here just barely missing a nice sidestep from Piwu. But in the end, that's 3 for 1. It's just Pepito dying. He got a beautiful showstopper to make the engage. Did so much damage, and it meant everyone had to back off while he was just going in by themselves with the pop blossom. Kota Kuno got 3 times to hit, and that's exactly what they needed to turn this around. It's going to be Baron Nashor after that team fight for the side of 4-5.
Pepito, again, he's not had the best of games, but he's had 2 moments, but my God, were those 2 moments exactly what Team Warfire has ordered. They pick up the Baron in the process at a pretty influential time too. The next Drake spawning in under 2 minutes means they'll be able to push out these waves, means they'll be able to set up for it, and hopefully Moxie doesn't get a 3rd steal of the Drake away, because Baron Baddies are on soul points. They do use it quite effectively as well, between the Nico and the Lunara getting the extra move speed, Ari as well getting that burst of move speed. Just everybody in general on Baron Baddies would absolutely love this Cloud Soul. So for them to be able to have a good chance at denying it is really exactly
what is going on here? I think this might be a base race. There's 2 members in the top side, 3 members actually, and 5 or 4 members in mid, but they have Baron buff. Baron Baddies might be giving over the game for a tier 2 turn, as we see here. Pepito is buying time for his team. Yeah, Moxie and Yasuo stuck up here to deal with the set, and now look at the base. I don't know if they can defend fast enough. The showstopper invested to keep them away, but now this set is just dying. Oh my God, Kim Ji-woo almost dies in the Lifelorn Disintegration Ray as Pantheon takes a lot of damage, but the first Nexus turret falls. Can Kim Ji-woo get a charm on anyone? The Pop Blossom is available, and yeah, the team is back. The Arc of Judgment actually doing a big throw in for the Pop Blossom. Sets it up for Kota Kuno, who ulties. a bit too early, and they go down as we see now. The cease and desist onto the Pantheon. Pantheon jumps back in, but I don't think this is a repeat of last fight. It's a Flash Bolt Breaker to follow Karma, and in fact, he's getting chased down by Moxie. One more Bolt Breaker. Can they chase? The movement speed is there, but I think it's just enough to make the Karma back off. This is, like you said, Isaac, this is going to be Ocean Soul, or sorry, Cloud Soul, which is such a great move for the side of Baron Baddies with all of their ultimates.
Oh my goodness, they smelled victory. Team 4Fire, they saw it. They committed Papito to his doom with the hope that they'd be able to have enough push and have enough neutral objective damage to be able to win the game, but they were just short, and they didn't realize how little damage they had, or not little damage, but not enough. And it was just a discombobulated retreat. Kodakuno was the last one to leave, which was absolutely devastating for Team 4Fire. The fact that they lose their main member, their key member, right before that dragon spawns, and also losing a few others in the process, but mainly losing Kodakuno was the knife in their back that ended really any hopes that Team 4Fire had at being able to pick up the Cloud Drake to prevent the Soul going the way of Baron Baddies. It's certainly not over by any means. They're still within reach, but we've already covered how effective the Cloud Soul is to the side of Baron Baddies, how strong it is for them. Their task on the side of Team 4Fire has just gotten that much tougher, and it's not over, but it's a really big blunder that they couldn't afford at this point in the game.
Absolutely. I mean, league games are won. League games are matches, or sorry, league matches are decided off those small, tiny macro errors. I mean, it was a pretty big one to let your AD carry be the last person to leave. I mean, Kodakuno is approaching full build, but it doesn't matter if you get CC'd and killed. And Papito did their best to kind of stall, but I think the wave clear that was needed, you know, the Yunara and Ari was just enough to kind of keep the Baron empowered push away. I mean, one thing, you know, if we have time to talk about Isaac, is that the Baron just doesn't have that same power it does before. I mean, it does end games, yes, but you kind of have to have your whole team in a push as well. And there's just not enough siege power from the side of Team 4Fire because of the short range of the Xayah and kind of like the vulnerability of the Vel'Koz. I mean, they couldn't get the job done. Like you said, I mean, the lead's not insurmountable. It's only about 3K. That is a Cloud Soul, which is very good. I mean, the Pop Blossom gives you, what, like 60% move speed? You just run at them.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And yeah, I mean, the Yunara, you're not catching her anymore once she pops ulti with the dash and the move speed, but maybe there's still a chance if they can stall out. Wait until Elder or look for a good front-to-back lead fight. Your feathers from Black Pop Blossom hits 3 members, and now since the front line melting, the light bulb disintegration, they do this damage, only hits 1. The flash out into gets the kill. The Xayah gets the kill as well, but instead it's Rid picking up the kill on Kodakuno, meaning that key carry is down. It's 3 members still alive for the side of Team Baron, or sorry, for Team 4Fire. They still have double super minions pushing into base, and Baron is not yet up, so it was a team fight loss. It is the key carry going down, but it's still not the end.
Yeah, they trade even in terms of kills. Sleazdole, even though he's not the main carry for the side of Team 4Fire,
Hey,
has
what the hell?
damage, of course.
Flash
forward.
breaker.
I don't know, Pepito.
Well, I don't know about that play, Isaac. I just
Yeah,
do play-by-play. Could you give us a color analysis?
The analysis was Pepito saw an isolated target and got overly excited, but that just wasn't the angle. The Haymaker doesn't really do any damage without grit, and yeah, it's Pepito, no flash. Not ideal by any means. I mean, he's found some really good angles on the showstopper. Not having access to that flash definitely makes it a lot more difficult for him to be able to turn these fights around with it. Only the one being unavailable. If there was a team member that you would be okay with burning flash for not much value, I suppose it is Pepito. But still, you don't like to see it, especially if you are on Team 4Fire.
Flash Showstopper might be able to decide the game with how much health this Yasuo, sorry, not just Yasuo, Yasuo Scion is stacking with full build. I mean, it's not the Yasuo, but it is a Yasuo. As we see Baron getting started up, both teams kind of pressuring this mid wave. I mean, the sewer minions just finished, so it means that the pressure 4Fire had, I'm sure I called them 5Fire a million times. It just means they're doing really good, guys. 4Fire is just, you know, not able to have that immediate push or that free push from the supers as we see here. They're just gonna ARAM it. They both want control over this Baron. I mean, Kodakuno, he gets the straight up front to back team fight. I think he wants that because the Xayah is still pretty ahead. Can shred through the Scion, who is full build. Yeah, but Sleazeball going for more of that burst will have to take longer with the Scion. Maybe if he gets the combo on the backline, it would be good. Capito walking up, has the stride break, gets charmed, gets hit with the fidget spinner, means he's slowed down. There's a GA on the Yunara. And yeah, I mean, that's all where your hopes and dreams are right now. I think Sparksy's Pantheon is strong, but he's kind of fallen off at this point.
A little bit of a correction. There is no GA on the Yunara. It is actually.
Oh, sorry, the Xayah. Yeah. Wrong guy.
But I feel like that makes it even more impactful, especially if Team 4Fire can be able to bring the counterpunch. Like their composition does largely want to do. Kodakuno obviously being the main carry, going to be dealing the most damage on the side of Team 4Fire. So being able to buy that extra time with Kodakuno alive can be the thing that turns this fight around, and it will be an impactful one. Elder Drake has spawned up. All 5 members of both teams are here for it, grouped up and around. This could be the one. This could be a way back in for the side of Team 4Fire with how impactful those Elder MLAs can be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bot wave pushing for the side of 4Fire. Mid lane, this lane is pretty even as this is just gonna get started up. I mean, this is scary, right? I mean, for both teams, I think when you're at a deficit, you're happy to take the Elder flip, but I mean, Kodakuno doesn't really work well in these kind of open spaces. If they're fighting into river, they really want less angles for them to get jumped on. As the Xayah is off the front to back, you just see, oh my god, this guy's not taking any damage. I didn't even see his health bar move. As we see Yasuo Scion just taking absolute 0 damage from the combo of Pantheon and the set. As we see here, they're both possible. They're still pushing in. The wave studies have been out, so that time is kind of used up effectively. 5 members here. Pop Blossom angle is possible. They have a ward on it. Capito going forward. The Spirit Rush actually invested, but the charm hits. The set has to walk in, taking a lot of damage. The grit charged up, but not using the Haymaker. I mean, the passive will heal him back up. The Ahri does have no TP. Pop Blast Spirit Rush is running around pretty quickly, and now I think with this control, they're just going to start it. They're going for the Elder. Baron Baddies tend to get the Elder before they get jumped on. I mean, Yunara by shreds this decently. Oh my god, the ulti is invested. A 3-man Destiny Smash Torpedo looking for a Pop Blossom on it. 2 members in the backline, but on the other side, it's making space with the Vel'Koz. Wow, the Zanya's on 2 sides, 5 times for both teams, but on the other side, it is the XP on Capito. Kim Ji-woo goes down, and on the other side, it's a flash over from Moxie. The double onslaught goes down to just Yunara. As there's the damage dealing, now Moxie's looking for an angle with a huge Bolt Breaker onto 2. Moxie's actually doing big damage. I take that back. Another Bolt Breaker over the wall. They're playing this amazingly as we see the Pantheon is here. Sparksy looking for an angle. The GA was popped. Bolt Breaker back over the wall. It is a 3v3. 2 members on each team do go down. And I think both teams are just going to reset over the Baron. That is a key ultimates use, key kind of the GA not going to be available for next fight for the next 5 minutes, but the game is still not over yet, Isaac.
Oh my goodness. Just what? There's so much happened, but it was a roller coaster of a fight. And the engage looked really good for Baron Baddies, but enough time was bought for Kodakuno to be able to come back and, come back from the GA, deal some damage. But right now, Yasuo takes no damage. I mean, even from Kodakuno, you just walk into all 5 members of Team 4Fire and just did not care at all what they had to throw at him. So that inspires confidence to the side of Baron Baddies, but they did trade 2 for 2. I think maybe, perhaps. This has been a long shot that Team 4 Fire could have tried to take the Elder Drake last time around. I think they are better without the ultimates in that 3v3. He ended up not going for it. They're going to collapse on Scion.
I don't know if that's the right idea. I mean, Yasuo does invest the ultimate. He was getting actually chunked down a little bit by Kodakuno, but still, I mean, going for the Siren is kind of a low percentage play as we see here. Making space, the Agent Salt giving movement speed. Sparksy's looking for something. They are going to start the Elder here. It's a tense moment. Yasuo does have the TP to invest, but yeah, the pop loss if you group up like that. I think Lift can get another good angle. The flash is not available. But now, oh my god, it's just a charm onto the side. They did not see it from Fog. As we see, Ari jump back in again. As we see, Roxy taking very low from the damage. The life force percentage range break, plus the feathers to kill him. As we see the pop also missing. But on the other side, a huge chunk of damage, and Yasuo's still unkillable. On the backside, Ember Flame does go down to the and now Yasuo in the middle of 4. I thought he got the kill on Karma, but he couldn't. It's that shutdown over to the Scion, and on the other side, it's just going to be the Ari surviving. Ari's not even gonna make it, actually. It's going to be the shield vault over the Comet Spear, and what I thought was a team fight for the side of the Baron Baddies goes over to Team 4 Fire. What a beautiful display of the team fighting, because Kodakuno stayed alive even without the GA, survives the dive, survives the damage, and Sleestall just kind of ripped apart the backline, meaning there was no damage left for the side of the Baddies. And that's going to be the game.
Yeah, I do not believe that Kodakuno lived there. Like, that health bar got down to surely like sub 50 HP on multiple occasions. But the amount of healing available from Karma in effect came through, kept Kodakuno alive. The amount of damage that this guy can do with his lineup from before, but it might not be over just yet.
I mean, the next is gonna explode, taking us to a game 3 after a very long game 2. I mean, yeah, Isaac, I mean, I feel like we talked a lot. Any thoughts of the end of the game there? That was great.
It's crazy. It really is crazy that Kodakuno lived there. Like, Kodakuno absolutely has no rights to survive that. I mean, he was chunked down to, I believe, was probably maybe 250 health immediately just by Kim Jiwoo alone, and yet somehow manages to stay alive through that whole entire fight. It is illegal that Team 4 Fire managed to pull through in the way that did with how it started out, but yeah, you know, it's only illegal if you get caught, and Kodakuno didn't, and then that was all she wrote. Hello? We there? God damn it.
Oh, sorry about that. I was still on mute, but I was just gonna agree with you.
Oh, okay. There were so many. Okay, so like it's been a lot of times for whatever reason recently. Like my ISP has just decided Lamau no to me before it. I thought for a second that's what happened, but okay, we're fine.
No, that's on me. I had my mic muted. But what I was going to say is that I couldn't agree with you more, is because I was so sure that Kodakuno and Karma both died there, because it was a double Tangle Barbs into a double Blooming Burst. Like, the Nico Q hit both of them. I was like, okay, hits a champion. It's going to pop 3 times, and they're both going to die there. But they survive with the slimmest amount of health. Kodakuno and Karma both survive. And then that means they turn around the fight. And I think that was like a 5-0 by the end? It was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Sparksy fell off, but just in that late game fight, he made so much space, did so much more to kind of pressure the backline. I think killed the Ari and the Yunara, and Yasuo, you know, that's a tank Scion, unkillable unless you just kind of keep hitting it with true damage with Vel'Koz, and Zai, you know, eventually at that point has, with, you know, this much AD, right? You're gonna kill him eventually. It's just time that you need, and they bought enough time. And speaking of time, that was a very long second game,
Yeah,
and I'm
45
sure,
minutes.
I'm sure we want to get
Goodness.
to game 3. So any final thoughts before we jump to a break?
My final thoughts are what a game. That's really it. No other way to expand on that. So we're going to send it to a break, and when we come back, we will be ready to go for the final time between Team 4 Fire and Baron Baddies here in the Rise and Team Builder. So don't go anywhere. We'll be seeing you in a little bit.
Hello, everyone. Still watching Risen Team Builder on Tuesdays. It's the Bamis League for Winter Season 16. It's Kevin Dunk and the one and only Isaac Cass taking you to Game 3 after what was a very long, very
Yeah.
flippy Game 2, what came down to multiple Elder Dragon fights, but somehow, someway, Team 4 Fire did manage to come back, and that means they're coming back in this series as they take us to Game 3. We're going to jump straight into the draft here. Yeah, similar bans for first rounds of each. I mean, now we're in Fearless 20 no, 10 champions are banned. Again, bad at math. But yeah, 10 champions are unpickable. Yeah, and we're gonna see hopefully some cooks from both teams as we see Mayokai locked
Y-
in for Team 4 Fire on the
you,
first
you,
pick.
you were actually right the first time with the 20 plus the extra 6
Oh yeah.
already taken away. But
Oh my god, the
either
math is not
either
mathing.
either way, Malachi said locked in by the side of Team 4 Fire band, staying exactly the same as they were in games 1 and 2, and for the Baron Baddies to pick it up the silver. But one thing I do want to see them pick up eventually in this game is a top laner that can carry the game for Yasuo. Because even though Yasuo performed really good early on the Sion on his own can't really take over the game. And I think when Yasuo is the one like going off, doing his thing, it becomes it's how Baron Baddies and admittedly in their small sample size so far this season of only 4 games. In the 3 games that they've won, they've all been off of Yasuo popping off. So I want to see him on something, at least in their wheelhouse, maybe the Yone, maybe the Jax. Obviously, Zed and Yasuo aren't going to be available to him, but I'd like to see one of those 2 champs or something in that sort of vein for him to, bring Baron Baddies, over the edge. We saw it in game 2. I mean, there was no expectations for Yasuo to play in that counter matchup and come out ahead like they did. But yeah, I mean, and then at that point we're just getting a little bit circular with it. But that's the main takeaway.
I mean, I did hear you say vein, but not the right vein. Probably not a top lane vein.
Yeah, maybe not that one.
But I would like to see that. Honestly, if Yasuo could take over on that, that would be a very dangerous champion. But I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If you're gonna win through Yasuo, might as well keep enabling them because for Fire are picking some pretty not vegan champions, but these champions I don't think have a lot to get off the ground in the early game. I mean, Mayokai's a great ganker, but Jinx Melio really needs time to scale. Baron Baddy's picking some really safe, reliable wave clear with Sivir. Alistar's such a great disengage tool, can keep people safe, can also engage, and it's Dr. Mundo, which I actually really like if it's a deep scaling game like it was last game for the side of Baron Baddies. But okay, Darius, that's a big team fight top lane that can take over, like you were saying, Isaac, that is banned. So Yasuo cannot pick that one, and we're gonna have to see if the top lane bans continue.
I suspect that they will, at least in terms of champs that they played, be the Yone or the Jax up next. It is, in fact, the Yone. So neither of those Wind Brothers going to be available for Team 4 Fire. Not for Team 4 Fire. I guess technically them too, but mainly Baron Baddies and Yasuo specifically not going to be able to get their hands on those champs, which is again, one thing I really want to see them go for is for a Yasuo to take over this game, which is I want to see a mid lane pickup here, maybe something Azir, maybe not in the wheelhouse of the. Oh, well, I mean, okay, I suppose it is. All right, Azir locked in for Kim Jiwoo and Baron Baddies.
Yeah, I mean Azir, just the champion, right? The mid laner. I mean, you don't have to be a
Yep,
faker to be good
especially
at
in
him,
pro
but
play.
yeah, especially in pro play. But Azir just so much late game stability. I am a little bit worried that Baron Baddies just has a bit too much late game. I mean, I'm not worried because Yasuo has been, shown to be such a strong early game player, just able to space out, that counter matchup and kind of dominate with a
Ooh.
couple ganks. But the Swain is very good into multiple short range carries. The Singed Team 4 Fire
Mm.
says, I've been getting, top lane a bit too losing, so let's just not play top lane and play Singed. So maybe Baron Baddies, they do have R5 counter pick. I think it's pretty big for a top laner. So maybe they'll have the bright pick. Maybe we see a crazy counter like a Teemo. I don't actually know what counter Singe. This champ beats me every game.
Silas? Okay.
Okay.
Wait, that would no wait, no, then that would be Moxie on Silas Jungle, probably. So it'd be Dr.
Oh.
Mundo for Yasuo. I'm guessing. This is assumptions based on what they play. Moxie is a seasoned Silas player, and in their win in week 1 over Auburn University Orange, in game 2 at the very least, really started things for the side of Baron Baddies in that one, and then eventually, pass the baton to Yasuo to do what we've seen Yasuo do in this series so far, at the very least in game 1 and half of game 2. So so I'm assuming that would be Dr. Mundo for Yasuo, which I guess Mundo can take over games eventually, and if he can get ahead on this champ, as he's managed to do over Pepito every single time, gets him to that late game sooner, it can be like monstrous. It's not impossible. It's just for Yasuo specifically, I don't know if it's like the champ that I want to see him on. I want to see him on these. I want to see style picks, right? Like the Yone, like Jax is one that he plays that's available. I think was potentially on the list. I don't know how that matchup into Singed goes, because Singed is always just a wild card in general, because I mean it's Singed.
It's Singed, man.
No,
Like, let's be honest, Singed
no
is just a
further
freak.
no further explanation needed than it's Singed. But yeah, I don't know if Mundo is the champ I think I'd want to see Yasuo on specifically. I think it's fine, blank slate. I just, man, maybe it's me hoping a little bit for have like stylish plays, and Mundo, as nonsensical as he is, it isn't just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I really would not be able to tell you what this champion does, to be honest. Every time I see it, it runs over my games, and I never know how to lane against it. But I mean, if there's one person that would be able to win lane against Singed, it would be Yasuo themselves, because they have been having a great series so far, even in their loss. Baron Baddies, I think they really want to wait until late game. One thing I do want to mention is that Team 4Fire, like the Swain, is kind of disgusting here. You have four melees and a short range AD carry
Yeah,
into your Swain, right? It's just such a
well, three
great.
melees, but
Oh, sorry, yes, Azir. Sorry, I didn't see that, but yeah,
yeah.
three melees that you can kind of get your healing off of is so good, and then a short range carry in the Sivir. Yeah, maybe Azir can punish, but that is kind of a big if. Kim Ji-woo really needs items to kind of get that abuse in that range matchup. But Team 4Fire, I like that their mid game is quite strong. They have that Jinx in that late game team fight scenario, but Baron Baddies, if it does go to the late game, I mean, Azir, Mundo, Sivir is kind of just like a triple threat late game comp. So I want to see 4Fire do some stuff in the early game.
My eyes are always drawn to Singed whenever he's locked in, as anybody's, would normally be. And given the composition of Baron Baddies, it's not the worst Singed angle ever. As you mentioned, three melees, and Sivir's pretty short ranged. Azir can stay at a distance. So it's not. I'm a bit sorry. I'm not fully sold on the Singed angles, because I have seen some insane Singed angles in my time, and it seems like it could be okay here, right? Like, you just run around. The extra short range will deny Baron Baddies what they want. I'm not fully sold though, because Azir's range, Sivir can pop on the hunt and run really fast, and Silas does have access to the abscond and abduct, which allows him some mobility to just kind of ignore Singed as well. So I'm kind of going back and forth on whether I think the Singed is going to be able to do Singed things in this game.
That's totally fair, Isaac. I mean, it seems like your opinion on Singed is about as divisive as people in general's
I think
opinion on this freaking
no.
champ.
I think it's like the Vel'Koz in last game, where it's like you never see it because the amount of situations in which it is good is very limited. It's very
Right.
restricted. And Singed, I'm not fully convinced that the comp of Baron Baddies fully pushes like the singed value into, oh my god, this is a singed angle, quite enough to where I wouldn't be like, yes, Pepito on Singed is just going to do. He's going to run around you, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. I, I hesitate to fully, get excited for this pick, which is a bit of a shame because I do like it when we see out there picks like the Singed or the Vel'Koz generally.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, Isaac, I'm totally on board with you. Like the Singed is just only good in such specific situations. I mean, Mundo, you can't even flip him, right? You'll never get the fling off unless you have supplemental CC from someone else. The Azir can kind of just poke you from range and flee with that shifting sands, and if you get close to him, he just sends you back with the wall. Azir can spell shield. Sorry, Sivir can spell shield it, and Silas. I don't think you want to be running around that guy because he's just gonna get free procs of his Kingslayer for the healing. And Alistar's just so good at keeping Singed away, right? It's a point and click headbutt. Like he runs towards you, you headbutt him, he's away. And if you try to get closer, he just hits the pulverize for the knockup. It's not super hard to hit unless Singed just legitimately like turbo spacing you with the space glide, but it's not easy to kind of react on movement to an Alistar Q, unless you pop the ghost and the ultimate at the same time. But again, that's a lot of investment. So hopefully, I want to see Spark Z on the Maokai make some moves because I think the Maokai initiation is just so good here. I mean, if you go wide, you get hit with the Maokai. But then if you go and bunch up, the Swain has a really good angle for something like the Never Move or just popping ulti and slowing you down. So I think that's where they want to play, is in those like early mid game team fights when you have a lot of base damage to kind of chunk out Silas and Mundo before they can heal. But I think if the game goes late, which the first game didn't because Baron Baddies were winning so hard, and the second game, 45-minute triple Baron, triple Elder
Yeah.
fight. Not three Elders, but three fights around
But
Elder.
three
Before
fights
someone
around
won.
Elder, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do not want to be playing against a Zir Sivir who can just kind of rip apart my whole team from range, especially with the peel of something like an Alistar. Silas just taking over team fights. I mean, Silas, we didn't really talk about the hijack opportunities. I don't know if you want to expand on this, Isaac, but I think
I
I think Singed and Swain are actually crazy ultimates for Silas to take.
Singed. I suppose actually, yeah,
You
I
get like
suppose.
80 AP for
Yeah,
free.
you get the AP, you get the movement speed. Singed could be pretty good. I think the Swain ult is probably crazier though for
Yep.
Silas if you have the availability of it. And she will do as Moxie as a jungler. And since we've actually blasted straight through the spectator delay, we won't have one this time around. I think Silas definitely has a few good ults to steal here, but and even the Nature's Grasp from Maokai, if you really need it, I don't think will be the most prioritized sort of ultimate by Moxie in this particular game. I definitely think you get more value from either Swain or Singed, but with how low of a cooldown it gets by the end of the game, the ultimates of Kim Jiwoo and Lim just might not be available in terms of timing wise, and so that's not a bad one to take either. But yeah, no, Silas definitely has that availability to him. I'm not as fully sold by like as you said with like Azir and Sivir late game. Not because of Azir and Sivir are bad late game. Clarify. It's not because of that. I think Jinx Melio specifically with the amount of range you get given from Melio to be able to space yourself on the Jinx goes from a bit of a mid-ranged AD carry to one who could seemingly hit you from 2 screens away with rockets that chunk you for like a quarter of your health bar. You just go, what the heck happened? There it goes. Luckily, the main members that are going to be hit by it for the side of Baron Baddies is the Docked Mundo and the Alistair. They can definitely tank a few, especially with Alistair having the unbreakable will. But yeah, this one is what is a draft that definitely intrigues me, to say the least. And I want to give it to Baron Baddies just because it's more conventional, and I think their drafts in general so far this series have been better. But I'm not as convinced by that to make it be like obviously Baron Baddies as it was in the previous two.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Isaac, I have to agree with you again. We're pretty much in agreement for most things, but yeah, the
Dang it!
team fight, yeah, and the team fight is good. Getting just a quick
Papito's
look
not
at
taking
here.
teleport though.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, Ignite singed early. He really wants to put the early pressure on Yasuo.
Yeah, when we get this ready to go, we should be switching over to game at any point in time whenever we are good. We might be having a little bit of issues perhaps
Yeah.
in the game right now because it's oh, we're on
Yeah, we're
pause.
back.
There we
Yeah,
go.
we're
All
back. No
right.
break. So for
There we
everyone
go.
who's still watching, we're good to go. But yeah, the last game of the night, Risen Esports Team Builder on Tuesdays. It's the Bamis League, the hot one. We get spicy here as we're gonna just jump straight into a game 3. Kevin Duncan, Isaac casts once again. And just to follow up on your last point there, on the Jinx, yeah, I mean, they don't really have a lot of dive for this Jinx. So, I mean, if Kodikuno plays as well as they did last game, maybe we have another 45-minute banger on our hands.
Yeah, and it was a banger. It wasn't a 45-minute snooze fest that we don't get actually all that often these days. Thank goodness, because I have in my time playing this game and watching it. I'm sure you have too, Kevin. Is the classic 1 hour one team fight decides the game, but that these days it is in fact a relic of League gone past. So.
Thankfully, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, thankfully.
I'm a super unk. I remember the days that games would regularly go past.
Yeah, I'm Unk. You're straight. Okay, I don't think I should go there.
I'm Gramps at this point.
No, that's okay. Okay, you said it for me. All right. So it's not as bad if you say it, but I mean, I was thinking it, but all right.
I mean, real OGs will remember when CLGEU had to remake their game against World Elite at Season 2 World Championship because their game took too long and Frog and Zanivia would clear waves until an hour and 20 minutes and they just had to reset because the server wasn't built for the games that long back then. So, I mean, I don't think
that's
we'll get
how
one of
we
those.
got silver scrapes.
Exactly. So hopefully, I'm like 99.999% sure we won't get that again. But jumping back into the game here, I mean, Yasuo's doing pretty good, not dying to the level 1 cheese of the Ignite Sin. But on the bot side, I mean, again, Kodikuno and Karma playing very good in this early game, having pushed early.
Yeah, and we will be able to get a look at what we saw in game 2, where it is a story of the two strengths of these teams, with Yasuo on the side of Baron Baddies being the leader for their team, and Team Forfire advancing through their bot lane. I did cover it a bit in the draft with. I don't know if I want to see the main carry of your team, or someone who has been awesome, the carry of your team on Dr. Mundo. But we've seen Mundo go where he pleases, so it's not impossible. I just worry that with the amount of healing that Karma in effect has, and like the shielding and to be able to cancel the CC, that it just might be a little bit too much for Yasuo to deal with as the game goes, even if he is on Dr. Mundo.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, Mundo's one of those champions that kind of takes over team fights by effectively just being so tanky that he can run you down. I know Riot tried to rework him to be less of a stat check champion, but let's be honest, he kind of still is. Yeah, but like you said, yeah, not really traditional, like, kind of take over the team fight carry top laner like an Aatrox that was picked game 1. Darius, which was banned in this game 3 draft. Other things that I can think about, like maybe like an Ambessa or like a Rumble, like things that just like once they have kills, they can kill anyone, right?
I was thinking particularly for Yasuo would have been the Jax, because that is a champion that they play.
Yeah, but, Jax is great.
Yeah, but that sort of thing going on. But either way, in all that time, no kills have dropped yet, so we did have that opportunity to, focus on Yasuo. But around the map, both junglers, same side, heading towards the top of the map. We're going to be looking to be able to. I mean, honestly, at this point, Spark might be looking towards the mid lane, perhaps probably the easiest sort of gank, but there aren't really a ton of great options for these junglers to go after. So for the foreseeable future, I kind of figured that we're just kind of have a moment to relax, which is actually kind of nice because we didn't really get that all in either games 1 or 2.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just a bloodbath both games. I totally agree with you there, Isaac. It's just, you know, while we can take a chill, just thinking about the team comps, I mean, we're seeing Pepito doing what Singe does, proxying, right? Getting ahead through that crazy side lane pressure. But, I mean, the scaling, I think, for, you know, Zero ganks means that Azir is happy to farm up. I mean, he's taking a bit of a trade here, but he kind of shields it away. Swain doesn't really have kill pressure early. And Moxie on the Silas waiting to get maybe like one item before they really pop off in team fights, I think is pretty in favor of the Baddies, but they're going for, oh yeah, it's just going to be an early dragon from that bot side push. Good move from the side of Forfire. Sparksy on the Miles side, just a really strong early game champion, able to secure that really effectively with that Bramble Smash, doing so much damage. 2 monsters, so.
Oh yeah, he's got that 10 damage buff that he got this patch.
We were talking about it.
The highlight of the patch, the 10 damage on Bramble Smash. Oh, hell yeah.
Hey man, he finished it 1 second sooner. That's big.
That's the game changer right there. But I think the real game changer has been Katakuno and Karma in effect in the spot lane. Even going into the Sivir, managing to get ahead on the CS, being able to push out that wave. As a result, yeah, Team Forfire pick up first Drake, are starting to stack up the Drakes, and honestly, considering how game 2 went, I mean, it's nice to see Moxie steal away 2 Drakes in that game, but on the side of Baron Baddies, I don't think you actually really want to be relying on that to stop the you know, the dragon stacking of Team Forfire every time. I mean, just assume that the coin flip goes the way of Sparksy instead in that game 1, and obviously the rest of the game plays out exactly as it did up until the end. It would have been a 4 Drake soul to the side of Team Forfire, and really have to praise Katakuna and Karma in effect for being able to do that in this game, but the override goes through.
Yep, just a cheeky little trade. I mean, they are level 6 while the bot lane of Forfire is not, but I think they'll take over right after this wave. I mean, a decent health trade onto the Jinx, but I don't think there's really any kill threat that... I'm honestly a bit surprised that Ember went for the Sheen into the longsword. I think with that much money, you could just straight up buy the BF sword. But maybe, I think they're going for the Essence Weaver.
They're going for Essence Weaver, yeah.
But like, if you have the BF sword, you know, just it's just so good. 1,300 gold, that break point, you know?
True. Essence Weaver just, I think, generally feels better on Sivir. Obviously, the BF sword gives you the early power, but
wait. Grab on top lane. Pepito pops the Insanity Potion, and Yasuo doesn't actually even use the maximum dosage. He's getting chased down, though. The flash is available. Pepito did invest the Ignite. Spell Shield, nice job there from Ember. That's just the ulti invested for not much, and Yasuo does now have the advantage with the ulti.
Yeah, and Yasuo has teleport while Pepito doesn't, so it's going to be really difficult for Pepito to really find a recall here. He's just going to be permanently in a bad spot until Yasuo decides that enough is enough, or they get some jungle help to be able to push that wave out. But for the time being, Pepito not going to be feeling it, and so despite how things had gone so far, Yasuo finding the one moment he needs to really maybe, you know, trampoline off that point, jump ahead and try to get ahead. All the while in the mid lane and in the jungle, they move up onto the Void Grubs. Extra push. Again, Yasuo helping out with that, ensuring that Pepito can't be there for any potential contest, and so that goes the way of Baron Baddies uncontested.
Yeah, I mean, Sparksy was actually in the bot side bush looking for a lane gank. Maybe didn't think that the Nature's, oh, okay, I was just gonna say, didn't somebody just recall from top? But no, it's Moxie using the stolen Maokai ult the Nature's Grasp on the top side just to get Pepito to back off. I think the timer was just ending soon. But yeah, Sparksy was looking for a lane gank, so on them, you know, spending too much time there, that's gonna be Rift Grubs, sorry, Void Grubs being secured for the side of Team Baron Baddies. But yeah, pretty even game. I mean, very minuscule gold lead for the side of Team Baron Baddies, but I think they're just happy to scale and farm, honestly. Like Dr. Mundo, Sivir, Azir, you'd be happy to take a 0-0 game.
Yeah, and especially with the Azir ahead in farm over Sleazedoll on the Swain. Definitely the spot that you want to be in if you are Baron Baddies. Azir late game, very notorious for the amount of damage that this guy can output on a consistent basis. The amount of utility that he brings as well, just kind of the complete package as a champion. Everything that you would want as a mid laner is available to Kinji, is available to Azir. And so, we move and we continue on. Let's quite hit their first item just yet. Then again, I don't really think any of these champions have a huge power spike on their first item. So even if he gets there first, it's not going to be the most impactful power spike ever.
I say this with complete respect to everyone of every lifestyles, but this is just a mega vegan game, if I'm gonna be honest with you.
I mean,
we just saw Sparky not even go for the instant events. I get that you don't want to be shuffled in, but he didn't even throw it like a sapling or like a bramble scratch for a poke. He just walked up on Kim Jiwoo. Sleazy hits the skill shots, and he was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care, I'm not gonna die here. So, I mean, off of that kind of a posturing in mid, that second drag at 11 minutes, they are on good pace, but again,
why else did you think they picked Maokai, right? Like, it's a plant right there. It's
a plant, yeah, fully vegan. I mean, I don't think crows are vegan.
They're not. I mean,
oh, maybe this is some action here. No, I think Zap hits the minion. He did a lot of damage from the rockets, actually. Super Mega Death Rocket could kill, but I mean, Liv has flash, has the ulti, so I don't think they're gonna risk anything. It's just a bit of poke on the cow, you know, tenderize and beef, and that's about it. So they'll just get a plate off of that. Not much else. It's just gonna be a 500 gold lead for the side still.
It does disjoint the recall timings of Liv a little bit. Luckily, with how Home Guard works these days, it's a little too long before they get back to the lane.
Oh, finally a gang! Okay, Flash and Slam Duck misses, and it's gonna be Sting. Does he get out of here with the Insanity Potion? Yeah, he's just gonna walk away. 0 kills still at 12 minutes. I mean, good attempt by Moxie, but Flash for Flash traded, ult for ult traded. And Moxie did try to make some action happen for us this game, but it's going to be Pepito walking away from that gank. Not dead yet.
And so we sit at 0 kills, still and a half minutes in. Luckily, the effect has been taken basically on cooldown, and so does mean that Team 4 Fire are stacking the Drakes. It means that perhaps the next one, you can see a fight from Baron Baddies to try to prevent these soul points going the way of Team 4 Fire. That won't be for another 3 minutes, and even then, it is Kimtech, Drake and Kimtech Soul notoriously one of the more weaker options. However, as I do say that, it is surprisingly good for the side of Team 4 Fire. I think specifically with Sleazedoll uses it to great effect. Pepito can do as well. Buy more time to run around. Sparksy as well. Amount of healing he can get off with passive auto attack late on if he's particularly low can keep him in the fight for a while. So yeah, I would hope to we see some sort of fighting in 2.5 minutes, but I feel like until then we're probably just going to sit around. I doubt we get anything around the Rift Herald huge in any particular matter because of how impactful this next Drake will be.
Yeah, I mean, the next Drake fight will be exciting, but we gotta wait a little while for that,
yeah.
Isaac. I mean, like you said, Chemtech Drake's actually really good. I think if any team comp would want it, it's either of these, because like you said, the heal and shielding is actually pretty significant for multiple members. I mean, Swain, Singed, Maokai, like you said, Milio, right, for that empowerment. But even on like the side of Team Baron Baddies, like Mundo with bonus healing and shielding, like, thank you very much, plus the tenacity, right? Silas also getting bonus healing is huge, and I mean, while Azir and Sivir can't use it that much, I mean, Alistar still has a healing kit, as we see, maybe an in-game, call the hunt used, after the headbutt pulverize, the trample hits for the stun, and that's about it. Yeah, no play after. I don't know why I was getting excited.
They got the flash and the barrier out of Kotakuno.
That is true. There is some action. As you see, maybe on the top side, it's only potion off. Ulti stolen, hijacked away. Abscond abduct misses, and Capito's doing Swain things. I mean, Singe things, but I think he's finally gonna die right before 15 minutes. It's gonna be first blood, and on the bot side, it's the counter game. The counter play, as you see, taking up a lot of damage. Lives Alistar. This ground beef is taking a lot of hits, but the power of that ultimate unbreakable will keep them healthy. But so far, wow, the Jinx Bolts actually do it. It's going to be the flash out, but it's going to be the trade kill. The pizza over the top gets the kill on Sparksy, so it is one kill over for Sparksy's Maokai, but he tanked a bit too much tower damage after getting the kill on Liv, meaning it's going to be actually a 2-for-1 in the turn. Oh, sorry, 1-for-1 in the turn there. Maokai dying and Singed being dead also means that Yasuo with these grubs is going to get first turn on bot lane. And I think Ember's very happy to kind of just let the support die. It wasn't the 80 who got the kill, so it's not going to advance the quest as much. And it's going to be Ember collecting a kill and plates here on the bot side.
Yeah, and I mean, that feels really good if you are the side of Baron Baddies. Anytime you can return a kill in a game, but also get value on the opposite side of the map with the kill onto Yasuo, which then bought the time and space needed for Moxie to pick up the Rico. Will allow the side of Baron Baddies to open up the map a little bit more, especially now with Yasuo getting access to the Warmog's passive. That any sort of damage he takes, just simply walk off, heal it right back up. And
yeah, but look at the dragon. I think they're posturing for the fight as we see Tunk taken very low. Ember the flame getting chunked up by the rockets. Oh, he still gets hit with the ultimate one. It is going to be very offensive to not a lot of back as we see Ember pulverize to get the field for the Silas. I think that's going to be Mr. Alistar going down into the third as Liv picks up their life for their jungler, and now Get Excited activates. The Jinx is fully activated. Kotakuno just blasting the rockets. Will does that hit? No, it's tanked by the blue buff. Get down, Mr. President, as Moxie escapes by the skin of their teeth. Again, it is the bot side of Team 4Fire winning for their side of the team. It's now Dragon's sole point from that fight, and again, it's still Yasuo taking over top lane. So every single time we saw this kind of game just follows the series, right? It's bot lane for one and top side of another. I think that, you know, it's getting a bit dicey here because that is a very early soul point, and I think that Team 4Fire is going to spike earlier in terms of item and just the power of their team comp before that last, before Sivir and Azir can get along. But now, I gotta stop talking as we see Moxie, never mind, he's going for the play, but it's gonna get countered by the TP for Freezal. Oh, wait, another one. Okay, Yasuo TP'd as well to follow, but I don't think there's any play here as we see Sparksy looking here, playing bodyguard.
Do it.
Yeah, I want someone to go. And I mean, daring him too.
That's a lot committed from both teams.
Actually getting caught here is Sparksy. He is very patient. The breath of life for the healing, and they're trying to get on Kotakuno. He gets exhausted. Can they get the kill on Maokai? Boomerang Blade hits as the Ghost is invested. The Cleaver misses though for no slow, and he's knocked back. The Super Mega Fire Kick misses though. Jumps back in for the healing. This Mundo is very tanky, but doesn't do that much damage as the heal goes out. Wow, look at that, you know, power of the Chemtech investment, and now the flash into the Nevermoon gets flashed away from the Silas, and on the other side, boom, Mega Death Rocket does so much damage. Can Kotakuno get one reset? It's the ulti off away, but no, it's just going to be Liv going down. The Get Excited actually continues. They have a war. They get the zap onto the Sivir. Can Sivir get away in time? It's going to be another zap over the wall. Gets the kill, snipes, and Kotakuno might as well be playing Caitlyn in this game because they just got amazing use out of that long-range ability. It's going to be 2 kills picked up for the Jinx here. Or sorry, 1 kill picked up for the Jinx, and I think another kill for the Swain. So, I mean, slowly but surely, I think Team 4Fire is actually clawing into a lead after what was a very slow early game.
Tell me, Kevin, tell me. What are the teams fighting over there?
I don't know.
Why do we all showed up bot, did nothing, Having
Oh,
back, of course.
coupled in. Ulti invested by the Swain as well. Kim Ji-woo, wow, gets back up. Alley-oop from the Alistar means there's a ton of turret damage. There's a shutdown on Sleazdal. A nice alley-oop from the Alistar sets up the kill from Kim Ji-woo as Sleazdal's Swain is just in the bounce house. Nice play from them. Gets a lot of money onto that Azir.
Finally, we have returned to peak League of Legends. It took us 19 and a half minutes, but we're back. We're back. These two teams are back to fighting over everything at every possible angle. They just needed a little bit of encouragement, especially when it went to the soul point. All of a sudden, now is the time that we need to fight over everything, regardless of whether there's any sort of value to get into it, because it was a really good look from Liv and Baron that got the kill onto Kim Ji-woo, and you'll get that. You'll absolutely take the gold on Azir every single day of the week. But before that, in the previous fight, like,
I don't think either of them will kill each other.
No, they're not going to kill each other. But there was no reason for either of these teams to be running at each other. I mean, there's a teleport committed bot. And Sleazdal eventually showed up, took all that time to walk into the bot lane as well. They arrived, nobody wanted to fight, and they kind of backed away half-heartedly, and then for some reason, I cannot tell you why, they just decided to fight anyway. The inner machinations of the strategy of these two teams in that particular moment, I really want to know what the comms were, because especially considering how this game has gone, right? If it was a bloodbath fighting non-stop 24/7 here in Game 3, I'd be like, okay, it's just a continuing sort of how things have gone before that.
Oh, Gerald Charge goes in, gets the knockup. He misses the turret! What are you doing, Moxie? As he's going to try to come around for bot tier 2, but there's nothing. You can't hit that one. Wait, does Herald Charge go all the way there? He curves it Tokyo Drift style.
Get back in.
But yeah, he gets back out of it. He doesn't actually get the charge. He's just going to hit it once for the plating. I genuinely think these teams are bored, and I don't know if it's good for them or not, because right now, I mean, you have a super fed Jinx going into Dragon Soul Point. Okay, here, headbutt full right hit, follow up as Mundo makes it to the party. Myokite ulti death, but on the other side, the Jinx is completely untouched. They're trying to get this wave, and now the pilot is getting ripped apart by the Sin. As we see, there's one kill traded over. Dr. Mundo is doing tons of damage. He picks up the kill. They're trying to run down the Jinx. He gets excited. It's just blasting the dude. So much damage to the Snipper. The Mundo is so tanky. The Zero's attack is a 3v3. Kodakuno's still pretty healthy as he gets one kill from the Rockets. Gets a second one. Gets a third one. Cleans up the team fight. And Sims, I don't know what the hell he was doing that fight, but it seems like it was doing a lot, because that is a clean team fight from Kodakuno, getting them the ace, getting Team 4 Fire, Chemtech Dragon Soul, and it was just chaos, right? It seemed like no team knew what they were going for, but in the end, Jinx is on top.
The main thing there, Kim Ji-woo did not hit anyone with the Shurima Shuffle. It went into the middle of the entire team, didn't hit anyone, and even if it did, Kodakuno was left completely alone, left completely unmarked, and by the time Baron Baddies realized the trouble that they were in with the amount of damage Kodakuno was dealing, it was already too late. And he got excited multiple times in that fight. The amount of damage that Kodakuno did in that previous fight and will be doing now on 3 items is really difficult to deal with. They have to somehow find a way onto this Jinx, but even if they do, you have Melio with a ton of peel. The Breath of Life does so much for peeling. I mean, it's the inverse of Mumu ult. Yeah, it heals and it cleanses CC, and you have to be running through 2 different slows as well, of the Swain and of Pepito, with 2 Rylai's Crystal Scepters in these inventories that will just be zoning out entire swaths of the map in which you just move 30% slower in. And that, again, makes it much harder to get onto the Jinx, who is at this point in time, you thought they were big in that last fight. 3 items now, she's going to be even bigger, and that, I don't know, a problem. And Luckily, problems do have solutions.
Okay, maybe this is the solution as we see the Dreamo shuffle onto in, but it's not on the right target, it's not on Kodakuno. Sees the Baron, does it get stolen? It does not. It's just gonna go down in vain as Silas burns down to the Swain, and Kodakuno takes over the fight once again. Cannot kill the Jinx, and that means you cannot win the team fight. This is going to be a 4-for-0 and Baron for Team 4Fire. It was just an obliteration in that team fight. Everybody went in. Kim Ji-woo did not hit the shuffle on anyone important. Karma, heals, and shield. The Chemtech Dragon Soul finally is probably the most useful one right now. And that's free Baron. That's push on the midway. We talked about this before, right? If you cannot kill this Jinx, you don't really have die to finish the fight. And that's exactly what is happening. Kodakuno on 7 kills, 0 deaths, 7 assists. You know, the opposite of 007 is just taking over the game.
Yeah, it really is imperative that Baron Baddies find a way to deal with Kodakuno. The issue is that it's really easy to say that. There's just so much utility currently in the, I guess, in the composition of Team 4Fire that it's not impossible. The best chance that they have is finding them in transition between the maps and maybe getting a few surprise death pushes here and there. But outside of that, maybe a ridiculous shuffle from Kim Ji-woo could be the angle that's needed for Baron Baddies. But down 5k gold and a Kim Tech Soul, in which the composition of Team 4Fire uses, I mean, this is the Kim Tech Soul composition. It's not great for Baron Baddies.
I mean, I think, you know, Baron Baddies are kind of in checkmate here because you can't really get close enough to the Jinx without taking damage from Singed and Swain. If you get on the Jinx, there's Emilio to back them up, and you're still having to deal with just so much damage, and they have no anti-build right now, right? The only person who can realistically get it and not suffer their build path that much. Oh, wait, I'm gonna have to stop myself there. Headbutt Pulverize gets flashed away from Karma Effect. I mean, he's cooldown, but I mean, it's not a lot. That is just a pretty big tool used for the Alistar, right? I mean, but now, I mean, look at the siege, right? The Jinx can just free hit, takes no damage due to all of this healing and shielding from Emilio. Like you said, 700 range hitting you from 2 screens away. Oh my god, Kodakuno almost kills the Sivir with just the splash damage off the Runaan's rockets and the warm hugs. Cozy Campfire. Going again for the X-Flash. They can't get off the Jinx, but he gets exhausted. They're in the backline. The Silence can't get the kill. There's so much damage being pumped up by the Swain. They kill Kodakuno? They cannot. Again, that's the only person that needs to kill, and they cannot do it. Oh, they get one actually back, but maybe Yasuo can take over this game. But look on the other side. Singed is running you down. Sleazedoll Swain is running you down. And there's still the Emilio keeping them healthy. It seems like this end push is going to be the result that we saw every time Yasuo against the world, as top tier 3 and the inhib does go down. Kodakuno lived for so long that his team just took over. I mean, yes, you got a shutdown, but again, it's going to the Mundo. He cannot win the team fight by himself with such a deficit.
Yeah, and that was about as good of a look you could have hoped for the side of Baron Baddies, really. It was a really good flank from Liv to find the headbutt pulverize. It just wasn't enough. It was very good patience on Karma in effect to not immediately cast the Breath of Life, because that doesn't hinder those knockups. They waited for the exhaust to go down onto Kodakuno, which is the obvious target for Liv. You know, the amount of damage that Kodakuno does, to then cleanse that away to keep the damage piling up from Kodakuno, and the
Oh, the hunt activated, but a huge never move onto the Sivir means she has to flash out and instantly dies to the burn. The headbutt back on a Kodakuno means he is just untouched, unfettered, as even though the Swain ulti is activated, the Silas cannot get much done, as Papito's just running over the fight. finally, they're able to do something huge for this game 3. And see the zap hit onto the is out of luck, out of options, and out of time. Double kill for Kota Kuno, who likely probably should have gotten the penta there if they were, picking up the kills. And it's just going to come back for the victory lap as it's Yasuo trying to do something to cut the wave, but there's already a win here. Pepito had a not great game 1, had an even worse game 2 other than the settle piece, but in game 3, where it all matters, is 7-1-8 on the Sin, has been outplaying Yasuo in the team fights, making so much chaos, and in the end, even after what was the longest game, I think, so far in our league, 45 minutes, we go to a game 2 that's ending in just about 30. Maybe I spoke too soon, maybe this is a team fight, I don't think so. But actually the death times are so low that everyone comes back from the side of team, Baron Baddies. I was getting ready for the end game speech, but it's somehow, some way, this game's not over yet, but soon, you think after Baron it's gonna be over. Yeah, off, but just an easy escape, and look at Torpedo! He's just running through them, he doesn't care! Unbreakable will pop, but I just don't think the team fight is there. They don't have to be here, even though they're facing onto Kota Kuno. Pepito gets 2 kills with Legendary, and again, this Jinx is just farming the enemy team for a triple kill. And just a sad bird, Team G is all alone. I'm gonna wait until they break the Nexus to make any speeches, but this is looking pretty over, I think.
Yeah, I don't think you need to wait much longer. There only Kim Ji-woo is left, and currently he's not doing all too much to be able to stop all 5 members of Team 4Fire. They find the switch in advance, and yeah, that is all she wrote. This is a very impressive game 3 from Team 4Fire, and yeah, it's been kind of an inverse sort of series that we had. I mean, Team 4Fire looked absolutely toothless in game 1. They, keep it close in game 2, and now in game 3, they close things out in emphatic fashion. Of course, Kota Kuno and Pepito didn't quite stay deathless, but I mean, 56k damage on Kota Kuno.
Holy moly,
38.8k on Pepito. Oh my god.
That is insane. 0-0-27 on Karma's Milio. It's just, that is the perfect score you want to see for an Enchanter support. I mean, oh my god, what a game from the bot lane. I mean, Kota Kuno and Karma were the hope in game 1. Unfortunately, that kind of got doused. But in games 2 and 3, it felt like Baron Baddies could not keep the fire down, because in those late game team fights, again, it was just the bot lane of Team 5Fire were on fire. The Xayah was like pumping so much damage, and the the support, I believe it was Karma, just keeping them safe the entire time for that last key team fight. And this game 3, like you saw it, right? Domination throughout the entire game. Took 15 minutes for something to happen, but once it got going, Kota Kuno was pretty much just the unkillable Demon King until that very last just kill trade from the Mundo. And I mean, Yasuo, I think, like you said, we want to see him on something that could take over, but I don't think Mundo is that champion, especially into a comp like this. So unfortunate that they, had the firepower early game, did a great game 1, 2, and even the laning phase in game 3, but just could not get their team across the finish line for that last one. But wow, what a night. Couple of client errors, a very long game 2 makes it a long night. But any closing thoughts for you, Isaac, for what was a very exciting night?
I gotta say, fair play to Pepito. Like, it's easy for him mental to boom after his performances in game 1 and game 2. Like, being completely honest with someone, those were diabolical. Yasuo ran those matchups, especially in game 2 when he was given the counter pick on set. The fact that he was absolutely stomped, not great. That one's a tilter. But, for him to, stay locked in, keep his head down, and, perform this way in game 3, to be able to go to toe-to-toe with Yasuo this time around, I don't know if it was, like, necessarily the game changer, because obviously Kota Kuno, 56k damage. But it was definitely a very impactful part of that game. And so, yeah, no, I really respect Pepito's ability to, stay locked in and stay with the program despite how things had gone for him.
I mean, that's how it goes, right? You lose game 1 in a horrible fashion. You kind of almost in the counter pick matchup game two just to set them up for false security to take them down in game three. Pepito on the Singed made it happen. Like, like you said, unshakable mental, which is what I kind of expect out of a Singed player. If you play Singed, you've got the mental
You
fortitude
just
of
got
a
a
god.
different built different.
You're just truly built
Yeah.
different if you're a Singed player. But yeah, I think that's all from me on this night. It was very fun to cast with you, Isaac, and I really had a fun time watching these games. The Gong Show in game two was, three fights over Elder to,
Yeah.
to finally end the game. And any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, I think that'll be it from us here at Risen Esports. So thank you for tuning in. I've been Isaac, not Arrowston, but it is what it is. Alongside me has been Kevin Dunk, running things behind the scene. Three Eyes makes this possible, and as well as everyone at Risen Esports, including these two teams, being patient with us and working through some technical issues to be able to bring this to you. But with that said, everyone who is tuned in, we wish you adieu.